I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was a Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. U.S. women are back in action tonight. They'll be taking on the Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by goal differential. Tonight's game kicks off at 6 p.m. Those are your headlines. Now let's get started with Whitey and Watkins.
They gonna take it for a W.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car. It's a show specifically for you, Sacramento. Whitey.
She got a new song out of this anyway. Hoops, I did it again. So that's right. Hello, is this on?
Nope. Watkins.
I'm sorry. I know I don't want to be the wet blanket on everybody.
It's Whitey and Watkins, and it starts.
Hurry up!
Now.
Thanks for being with us. Those of you on YouTube, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Chris Watkins, good morning. May I begin with a potentially very silly question?
Absolutely.
But I don't
Set
mean
the
it to
tone.
be. I don't mean it to be.
Okay.
Is it possible the San Francisco 49ers have 4 quarterbacks who all 4 of whom might be starters on other teams in the NFL?
I don't think so. I don't think that
You don't think they would, or you don't think it's ridiculous?
I don't think they would.
Okay.
I don't believe that Brandon Allen is necessarily a starter level quarterback. Maybe he's capable of spot starting. I don't think Sam Darnold in an ideal universe is a starting quarterback. He's capable of it, but would you say like, oh yeah, Sam Darnold's our starting quarterback and we feel good about it? Probably not. And then Trey Lance, I think, is at this point still worthy of being given shots just to see if there's anything there. But I wouldn't say that there's 4 absolute definite starting level quarterbacks that the Niners have, but they're all nonetheless good enough options to spot start for every team, I would say.
The reason I throw that out there, I looked at some of the quarterback battles going on in camps, and we're going to be talking more about at least some of those. You got Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield,
Right,
going head to head.
That's not good. Yeah, I think like Sam Darnold, there's no
He
reason
might have
why
a shot at that if he were there.
Yeah, absolutely. The only argument I would have against that, but even I would say Sam Darnold would still probably be in the conversation. But Baker Mayfield took over for Sam Darnold quite literally last year in Carolina, so I guess that in a sense says that a team might prefer Baker over Sam Darnold, but if anything, it at least says that they're to that level. I mean, again, like I think Sam Darnold could have maybe found a situation where he could have competed for a starting spot somewhere else.
Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that's not good. Where is that? Where is that? That's in Washington?
Washington, D.C.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Mhm.
That's terrible. Yeah, I think Brandon Allen and Sam Darnold probably could compete there at least.
Mhm.
At least like that's
So all of a
That's
sudden,
gotta
the
be the
49ers,
worst.
and it's a great problem to have, obviously, but with Brock Purdy now saying, yep, good to go, taking a few days off here to make sure everything's okay, but they've got an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback position, I think, unless Sam Darnold's really as bad as most people think he is.
right. I mean, well, we've been saying it for a couple of weeks. Like, it's not that the 49ers do technically have a quarterback problem or a situation, but the problem's a good it's actually a great problem to have. They can't figure out which one of them is. I mean, I think they understand that Purdy's the best option for starting, but they really haven't quite figured out where in the pecking order everybody else falls. And it's because they're all decent enough and they're all good enough to warrant being frankly a top level backup. Like the 49ers are in a great situation to have a fantastic quarterback room. It's every other position group, it's fantastic to have a great receivers room. It's great to have a good running backs room, cornerbacks room, linebacker room. I don't see what the negative would be in having a good collection in a quarterback room. Like, to me, iron sharpens iron. Like, you're only going to make the floor of your team even higher by making sure, as the 49ers are well aware and became well aware in the playoffs last year, you can never have too many solid quarterback options, even when you think you're good with only 2 or keeping only keeping 2 on the roster. Like, you can always have guys in reserve. You can never have too many good options to go to, because you never know in an NFL game the options you're going to be left at, especially, like the situations we saw last year, not just with the 49ers, but, the Miami Dolphins had a game last year where when Tua was out, Teddy Bridgewater got a concussion in the middle of the game. They only had Skylar Thompson as their quarterback. And then if he would have gone down, they wouldn't have had anybody else. So I just think it's good in this NFL where you can be taken out from spotters on the side, to just have as many options as possible to have as your quarterback, the most important position in sports, arguably.
It's almost like this is an overreaction from Kyle Shanahan to what happened last year in the NFC title game.
Seems
We're going to
like
make sure that doesn't happen again.
Exactly.
We're going to have 6 or 7 quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. It really does seem like that's the case. That was a big moment for him.
Brandon, I know I tend to get carried away with the backup guy, but Brandon Allen's got some skins on the wall.
He's fine. Like if Brandon Allen has to play a couple games, that's more than most people, he's a better option than most people's just straight up backup quarterback. Like Sam Howell, like Jacoby Brissett, like he's not going to be worse than those guys. He might not, have a Brock Purdy level surprising season ahead of him, but he's definitely somebody who's capable and shown the ability to be capable of running an offense.
How about this quarterback battle? Gardner Minshew versus Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to me because I think Gardner Minshew, when I talk about the high level backups, I think he's number one in terms of backup quarterback options. And with Anthony Richardson,
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of time. So it's kind of a perfect situation where they can throw Gardner Minshew out there. They're not going to be very good, but they won't be terrible. And whenever Anthony Richardson is ready, whether it be week 4, whether it be week 12 or anything like that, they're ready to just slot him right in. There's not going to be any controversy. That to me is the funnest quarterback situation to look at, because I could see a possible world where Gardner Minshew is actually pretty decent, and it might be tough to take him out. I think, more than likely he'll be average, and, Anthony Richardson is an athletic freak. And so and the Colts will also be terrible. So it'll make a lot of sense to bring him in, but I really that's my favorite quarterback controversy right now is Minshew versus Richardson.
You know what that reminds me of? And it's not a perfect comparison, and this is going to sound insulting certainly to Anthony Richardson. I don't mean it that way, but it reminds me of, I think it was 2014, and the Browns had Brian Hoyer and Johnny Manziel. Yeah. It's like, Johnny Manziel eventually is going to start. He'll get his chance anyway. It's going to happen eventually. But Hoyer held him off to start the season.
Exactly. No, that's a perfect comparison because, Johnny Manziel, before we knew what he was as a pro, there was a lot of excitement.
Not a fair comparison.
They're almost quite literally opposite ends of like Johnny Manziel's this 5'9", I know. Spunky kid. Anthony Richardson's just this Cam Newton, massive, like supreme godly athlete. But it is similar. Like the situation, nonetheless, is still very similar. Where there's no illusion.
Just a matter of how long it's gonna take to get there.
Brian Hoyer is their franchise quarterback, and they're going to do that, for the next 3 or 4 years. It's just a bridge quarterback, and it's just to try and keep your team afloat, or maybe it's even just acknowledging like we're not going to be very good this year, and this is a way of maybe keeping some receivers happy or keeping the offense to a certain level. But I think it's going to be a really similar situation to that, where it's probably going to take 5 to 7 weeks to where, we're going to see Gardner Minshew, and it's kind of regardless of how he plays. I think that's just naturally when we're going to hear conversation of, okay, when are they flipping this page over? Because the Colts' real season starts when Anthony Richardson is in that lineup, and they can really see what they have there, because he's really the biggest question mark of the entire draft, maybe even in the entire league right now, is just how this guy can either come in year one and be incredibly raw, no clue really of any grasp of how NFL offense is going to work, and the speed might be too much for him, his accuracy might not be good enough. Or he's going to come in and be like Cam Newton, where, his first 3 games are absolutely ridiculous. And we're like, oh my gosh, like this guy is going to be the future athlete of the NFL, and just something we've never seen before. I'm really excited to see which end of the spectrum he's going to fall on, because I truthfully have no idea. I could see it going either way, 50-50.
So now with Brock Purdy back and supposedly good to go, a lot of the questions that people have been asking about the 49ers and the quarterback situation, they've been answered. They go away. but there's one that I'm fascinated by, and I find myself hanging on every word Kyle Shanahan has to say about Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's still a huge X factor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a pretty good idea what Sam Darnold is. He can still make leaps forward. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the most part, what Brandon Allen is, right? He's a backup quarterback who has shown that he can play a little bit with Cincinnati. We think we know what Brock Purdy is. Obviously, it was only 1 year, but Trey Lance is still like, what is he? I don't know. He could be anything at either end of the spectrum still.
Yeah, pretty much just like what we talked about with Anthony Richardson. He can either be fantastic, awesome, unlocking this 49ers offense,
or a bust,
or a complete bust, like just somebody who never figures it out, doesn't have enough experience, and can't figure it out on the fly. That's incredibly intriguing. I mean, that's why everybody keeps talking about this 49er quarterback situation and nothing else. It's interesting because, I mean, I think, you know, sometimes I forget that Trey Lance was named the starting quarterback last year. Like, he was the 49ers starting quarterback, and that was going to be it for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
And he lost his job due to injury, not because of play, not because of anything else.
He wasn't playing well before that. You're right.
Right.
But
yeah,
making it more complicated is before he got hurt.
Totally. Yeah, no, there was nothing spectacular to really convince yourself
lost
of.
That game to the Bears.
But that was
no way they should have lost that game.
That game was disgusting. I mean, that monsoon game, I almost don't even count that towards Trey Lance's. It's not, you know, it's not how it works, but like I almost don't think of it towards Trey Lance's evaluation because you couldn't do anything. Like, you couldn't. I don't know if Peyton Manning could have thrived in a situation like that Bears game last year. But you know,
what
he
about
lost.
Your guy Kirk Cousins?
No, absolutely not.
What about Jared Goff?
There's no way. There is no way. The ball would have been slipping. The ball would have been slipping out their hands left or right. There's no chance. I think it's you know, I think Trey Lance might, you know, we've been talking a lot about where he falls on the depth chart. I feel like it's still just very much unknown where he's what the plan is. Like, exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't think we know where it's going to end right now. Like, there's so much positive talk about, it seems like they're just flowing Trey Lance with compliments right now. And I don't know whether to take it as, okay, maybe he really has reached some other level and everyone's recognizing it, or if it's just kind of we're trying to all prop him up and make sure that he feels good and see what it does for him. I can't tell if it's a chicken or the egg kind of situation right now.
Yeah. So last Friday, was it, when Kyle Shanahan talked about how, we have all these quarterbacks. We love all our quarterbacks. He did say 3. He didn't mention Allen, my guy, Allen. But he said, he spoke of Trey Lance in the past tense.
Yeah.
And I thought, that tells you that he doesn't
really
say it, but
it. Yeah.
He's thinking of him as he had his chance. But then yesterday, when Kyle Shanahan talked about how good his footwork is, now I'm thinking, they like him. So if Trey Lance is still on an upward trajectory and Brock Purdy's anything close to what we thought he was last year, Sammy Darnold's like a spare part.
Yeah.
It was like an insurance policy that took out. It's like, we don't need it now.
Yeah. And that's what's interesting. But we keep hearing also how much Kyle Shanahan loves Sam Darnold as well.
True as well.
And so it just complicates everything. It's like, how do you love all of these men equally? Like, they're telling me there's no way. It's like the worst season of The Bachelor I've ever seen, where it's just like, can this guy make a choice and just give somebody a rose? Because I can't keep up with it. Like, he's like, I'm madly in love with Sam. He throws a great deep. But Trey, the
footwork,
dynamicism, all that, just making up words. And Brock Purdy has the resume. Like, Brock Purdy's the only one that he's actually seen with his eyes run this offense to an incredibly high level. And he just can't make up his mind. It seems like he wants to have them all, but knows that he can only have one of them. And I'm not saying anything new here, but that's what's so intriguing is all of them have their own individual paths that could make sense for why he wants to go that way. Obviously, Purdy makes the most sense, but realistically, I think he really does like all 3 of them. And I do think it's going to be about as open of a competition as it can be. They can say that Brock Purdy is the week 1 quarterback, and that's the plan. But I could absolutely see how if Trey Lance just looks out of this world, this training camp, it's going to be really tough for them to just look away from all that they've invested into Trey and all that he can be and just say, no, like we really promised Purdy he could be number one.
Really? I don't think there's any way.
I think if he
Trey
shows
Lance
out,
is a
it's
starter
really tough
in
not
week
to.
one. I mean, unless Brock Purdy's terrible or something, it's his job. I think right now they have the luxury of, okay, we're set there, at least for now. We know what we get out of this guy. Things can always change during the regular year, but now we don't have to worry about what if Brock can't go, because it looks like he can go. So we've got the luxury of taking our time to sort out the rest of it. But Trey Lance is like a week one starter to me.
I don't think it's likely.
I don't think that's
but I'm not
on the
ruling
table.
it out. I'm not completely ruling it out. I think there's probably under a 3% chance that it happens, but if Trey Lance really looks like a completely different guy and shows the level of, I think, and he plays incredibly well during the preseason. Like if they see it in game, it won't just be an in practice thing. If it looks great in practice and then also looks great in the preseason games, I'm just saying I could see that door slightly opening. I don't think it's going to happen. They've gone way out of their way to repeatedly say, even when they weren't sure he was healthy, that Brock Purdy is absolutely the guy. And I think seeing what he did last year definitely cemented his week one starting. But I'm just saying, I don't know what changed between yesterday and today, but I have a feeling that the door isn't completely shut on Trey Lance starting at some point this season. I don't think it's likely at all.
Some point, sure. Week one, I don't think so, because he will have to show what he can do in a regular season game. That said, as Kyle Shanahan says, he told the guys, remember Brock Purdy last year at this time, who's this guy?
Exactly.
And during the preseason, he was able to show that he belonged on the roster.
Right.
Coming up next year, Giants fans, you two Chris's were right. Giants fans went to bat for A's fans last night. It was got to me a little bit.
That was pretty
That's
good.
next year with Watkins and Whitey, Sactown Sports.
The Kings are running it back.
He's got the bucket at the buzzer. Harrison Barnes, Alex Lynn just went above the iron with a two-hand throwdown. And that was as nasty as we've seen him in a Kings uniform.
And welcoming some new faces.
Oh, and here comes Vazenkov. He gets the big finish. Fisher rejected by Mr. Vazenkov.
Keep it locked on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Already YouTube chat blazing some fascinating questions. Thanks for being part of the show. However you choose to join us. Arthur Smith says, Shanahan sees the best of three quarterbacks like a Three Musketeers. LOL. Us fans want to see who is the number one QB between the top two. Fans seem to be leaning Trey because of injury, not play. Fans just, I think a lot of fans, can't speak for all fans, of course, but a lot of fans still see Trey as just this incredible amount of potential.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I still view him that way as well. If anything, I view Trey more as just like the assets that it took to get him. And that's especially more what it is. Like, we don't really know what Trey's potential is because I haven't really seen him enough to really have a full picture of everything that could possibly be unlocked. But I just view the assets that they gave up for him. And maybe that's not fair. Maybe that's so far in the past now that I shouldn't be thinking that way. But I just feel like it has to be part of the equation. Like all of the assets that you dumped into getting this guy, to get any sort of return on that, whether that's on the field or justification, like trading him and getting some form of that return back. I just think they have to get something out of it. And as long as he's on the roster, I just think it's going to be a glaring, okay, we spent all of this to get this guy and we're getting nothing out of it. And it hasn't really set them back at all. I mean, their team is absolutely loaded. It's not like that cost them anything positionally, but I just think when you put so many assets towards that, you have to do your due diligence and make sure that you exhausted every single opportunity to get the most out of that. Because, I mean, it was a very, very heavy price to pay. And if you're going to pay that heavy price and then just play a guy who you literally picked with the last pick in the draft, it's fine because Brock Purdy is definitely worthy of it, but it's just a really tough thing to swallow. And I'm more thinking from the GM perspective. It's just a really, really tough thing to acknowledge. Like, yeah, that was a complete waste of assets.
Trey Lance ideally is, if you disagree, please let me know. Let's go. But Trey Lance is he's a player who can be an accurate passer, can make all the throws in the offense and all the reads. Plus he can make all the deep plays that say Jimmy could make and Brock Purdy can't make. But he can also, with his ability to run the ball, he can on those occasions win the most brilliant plays ever designed breakdown. He can still make a play out of it. So it's like, that's perfect.
Exactly.
But I think they found he's not necessarily as nimble a runner as they thought.
Yeah.
He's more of a power runner. There's still issues about him being able to make the reads quick enough to get the ball out. But to your point, as you were talking about, that reminds me of the Bagley situation, right? The Kings had a lot.
Yes.
And they didn't give up as many picks, but second pick, crucial pick. And
you passed on Luka.
Yeah. It's like, it didn't work.
It's the representation of what it means.
So at some point, and I know Trey Lance, we're not to that point yet. We may never get there, but the Kings had to get to the point where, all right, it just was a mistake and we got to move on.
Yep.
And then that was I think for the organization, one of the best things that happened last year was like, they put that in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Because they were good.
Exactly.
Despite all that.
Use James Wiseman as a similar example. At some point, yeah, I mean, I think you have to do the due diligence of trying to make it work. You have to shoehorn that guy into the starting lineup. And I'm talking more basketball than football here. But at some point, if it doesn't go well,
it becomes detrimental to your effort.
Exactly.
It makes it worse.
Exactly.
You're like, nope, we're going to make this work.
Yep, exactly. And that's where, at what point does Trey Lance become that? To where you're holding on to him just because you're holding on to faith that it might work instead of just shipping him off and putting it in the past and just letting it go. Because if you're starting Brock Purdy at that point, I know Shanahan's offenses tend to go through multiple quarterbacks in a season, but you just got to put it in the past. And I don't think, while quarterback competition is really fun, I don't know if it's healthy for the starting quarterback to constantly be thinking about the guy behind him and thinking they really like him or fans really like him or fans really whatever. Just having somebody breathing over your neck as a starting quarterback. There's a reason why Tom Brady liked to have Brian Hoyer as his backup and not Jimmy Garoppolo. It's because you don't want that conversation to start after 2 or 3 bad weeks, which inevitably every quarterback has. Patrick Mahomes throws 3 interceptions in games sometimes. Like, everyone's going to have bad weeks. What you don't want is it to then become a huge media circus around it. And again, if Brock Purdy, what if he is coming back too early? What if he is nervous that maybe Sam Darnold or Trey Lance is going to start week 1 and he's rushing I'm not saying that's happening, but if he's not going to come back ready in the first 3 weeks he struggles, well, now there's going to be conversations about, this is why they kept 3 quarterbacks, to keep optionality and to possibly shoehorn these guys in there if it's not looking good. And I don't think that that's a good situation to have. It's fine to have one good backup as long as everybody kind of understands that he's not the starter, but to have 3 and one that you've invested tons of assets in, I don't know. I think at some point you're going to have to wash your hands of the situation.
If you have 2 quarterbacks and the team is winning and the coach is clear on who the guy is, that works. I think Kyle's been down that road before. It's if the team's losing and the coach says, this is the guy, but the other guy is like, he might be playing better, then you have a problem. I think in a perfect world, Trey Lance would play well enough this year where they could trade one of them in the offseason. I think they still prefer Brock Purdy the way he played last year, but it depends on how Trey plays this year. In a perfect world, both those guys play well this year and they could get something back for one of them. The thing with Trey, let's say there were rumors that your team wanted him. The Vikings were interested.
That
but
trade is
he hasn't
perfect.
He hasn't really done much yet. So that his value isn't that high. You're not going to get back close to what you spent to get him.
Exactly.
So if he plays well this year and it's him you trade or the other guy, then you're going to get some value back.
Exactly. But in order for people to do, in order for that to happen, Trey has to play games to show that.
Right.
And so how does that happen? How does is it just those random packages like we've been talking about?
Trade packages.
The trade packages, is that going to be enough to showcase there's something else there? Is that, again, though, is that healthy for your starting quarterback to have these dual packages?
If they're winning in the fourth quarter, we as fans, we sit there and go, why is that guy still in there? And coaches, they don't want to take their quarterbacks out. Maybe with Purdy, with his arm this year still recovering, maybe in some of those games where they should have the game salted away and it's early fourth quarter, mid fourth quarter, maybe Trey gets to play, and maybe that happens a number of times. Maybe that's where his snaps come from. I don't know.
They do play the Rams and the Cardinals twice, so there's a good chance that they'll be leading by a ton in the fourth quarter of games for at least a couple of them.
No one's taking it seriously.
You're right. You are correct, Sean. That is correct. Nobody is taking you guys seriously, and rightfully so. I mean, they're terrible. They're terrible. I think I saw they have 20 rookies that are supposed to get real minutes for them this year.
That's bad when you don't have any high draft picks.
It's not very good. Yeah, exactly. Not to mention the fact that all their picks are from the third or fourth round and on.
Right.
It's I mean, I think that could potentially be it, but I think at the end of the day, the thing has to be Trey has to get in the games. How does that happen? If fourth quarters, sure, that sounds fine and dandy, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think Trey has to get some playing time in order for his value to go up, because other teams just aren't going to do the Niners favors of saying oh yeah, you paid for this, we'll recoup some of your losses. No, at this point, Trey Lance is viewed as a backup, or maybe even probably a backup quarterback. I'm not going to say third string quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. What is the value of a backup quarterback? Probably a third or fourth round pick. And yes, he's young, so maybe you can get a couple thirds or maybe a second,
point.
But
you're not going to get
that's
close
really
to what you
not even close. I mean, it was 3 first round picks they gave up for him, or 2 first round picks. There's no way
it was
you're getting
3,
that back.
but then the 49ers say, well, we got one back, so it's really 2. But
right.
They did give up 3.
Didn't the Dolphins turn that into Bradley Chubb and Tyreek Hill, if I'm not mistaken? So
they did okay with it.
They did all right with it.
They did all right with it, yeah. So Trey Lance has to play well in camp, and then he's got to play really well, and he will get his opportunities in the preseason.
It's as simple
just
as
like
that.
Brock Purdy did last year.
You know what the glorious thing about what you just said, though, is it's all relying on how Trey Lance actually plays. So like you said, I think you said it up top. The first thing you said was it's all up to him. It is up to him how Trey Lance's career goes. It's not really going to be up to Kyle Shanahan how much he plays him. If Trey Lance plays well, people will notice, and somebody will take a chance on a number. Like Sam Darnold's still getting a chance in the NFL. Trey Lance will get a chance in the NFL. He just has to show that he's got something there. And I think, even if he doesn't, I think he's going to get another chance somewhere else.
Coming up next, what the Sell the Team chant sounded like on the A's radio network last night. It's coming up next year with Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Your Tuesday forecast will include mainly sunny skies. We'll have light winds out of the southwest and temperatures feeling a bit warmer. Plan for highs in the upper 90s and overnight lows in the low 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
It's been said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to a nice, cool summer, it's so true. Right now, get a complete air conditioner tune-up for just $79. Bonnie. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696355.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axis.
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/get-early to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services.
We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Laud with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was a Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. The U.S. women are back in action tonight. They'll be taking on the Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by goal differential. The game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Hey, what a night last night at Oracle Park. Giants fans joining Ace fans in a sell the team protest. But before we even get to that, Chris Watkins, what a ball game, huh? Yes,
it was
drives one down the right field line in the 8th inning to break a 1-1 tie.
Yeah.
And the Giants, big win for Los Gigantes, the 2-1 win over the A's yesterday.
Yeah, just took an hour 45 for something.
Flew by.
Something action. Some
flies
action
when you're
action.
having fun.
Yeah, something like that. It was it was a real drag, Whitey. That's the exact kind of baseball game that I hate. I mean, I think Luis Matos had the only hit for about 5 or 6 innings for the Giants.
It was dramatic. It was tight.
It was
tense.
Tight. It was definitely tight. I did not feel the intensity. Maybe I was just waiting for that 5th inning, and that I was expecting some action along the way. But I guess that was my fault for expecting to watch a baseball game and see something exciting.
Tyler Rogers to J.J. Bleday, line drive, base hit, center field. The A's have tied the game.
Wow!
In the 8th inning,
1-1.
Yes.
Wow!
Yes.
Woo! Love that. Yeah, high flying action.
Hey, listen. One time, my mom took us, me and my brothers, to the A's game. It was a Saturday. They're playing the White Sox, and one of my brothers accidentally locked the keys in the car or something, so we're stuck in the parking lot. By the time AAA came and got the keys out, we got inside the stadium. It was 1-0 game, and we had missed the only run of the game.
Exactly why that sport is just it's. I just don't get it, man. It's just like give me a couple more.
It's exciting.
It's. I'm not saying it's not exciting. It's just.
Yes, you are.
If
you said it was dragging.
Okay, if you have an hour and 30 minutes of terrible, boring action, and then you have the last 20 minutes are really exciting, that doesn't override the rest of the stuff. Like it doesn't. It was like 2 things can be true. It was a boring game, exciting finish. I don't
understand that it's not easy.
I do.
For a pitcher
I'm not
to throw the ball.
Totally. But after
without the guy hitting it,
totally, absolutely. I understand that it's difficult. That's not what's lost on me. It's just I want to see some balls in play. Like
Okay.
I would like to see,
All right.
some people moving around the bases. I'd love to see some web gems. Absolutely. If people want to make some timing stops, absolutely. I'm all there for it. But.
I don't know that there were a lot of those last night.
No, there wasn't. That's I just want some action. That's it. I'm not necessarily. I don't need to have home runs, but at least give me some action. Give me something.
Mm-hmm. I'm a little embarrassed because early in the telecast, I was noticing it seemed to me like, wow, there are some large sections of empty seats,
Mhm.
but 40,014 So the game was considered a sellout.
Yeah.
A's fans handing out black Cell T-shirts and Unite the Bay posters to Giants fans, and Giants fans joined them in the Sell the Team chant in the 5th inning, and this is what it sounded like.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
just according to the cue cards that were handed out, 5th inning, and you could tell they were a little out of sync. There's 2 separate chants that started.
I think that was how it was. I think it was supposed to be like it was during the first protest, right? It was first batter quiet, second batter
then the first out,
first
and then
out.
you start chanting.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And they started it during the first batter, and I think that's kind of where the confusion lies.
Well, Giants fans.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
just got a little eager, or they can't read or whatever.
That was really cool.
It was really, really cool. It was, I mean, I expected some Giants fans. I didn't expect it to get onto the telecast. I also didn't expect them to acknowledge the telecast. I watched both. I watched that moment on both telecasts. Both not acknowledged it. Ken Korak acknowledged it on the A's broadcast, which I'm pretty sure was the first time it was actually acknowledged on any sort of A's forum.
We have that too. Here's what Ken Korak had to say as that was happening last night.
5th inning, Thomas takes ball 1. Thomas, Peterson, and Langoliers for the A's. Still blue skies above the ballpark. And now here's the 1-0 pitch on the way. Outside 2-0. You can hear the familiar Sell the Team chants here at the ballpark. Now the 2-0 pitch.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, they were so loud. I was shocked. Like I told you earlier, I wasn't fully paying attention. I was waiting for the 5th inning to happen. I was on my phone.
You weren't paying attention. No wonder you don't enjoy baseball. You're not even paying attention.
Well, maybe you know what happened. Once some noise actually happened, I looked up at my television and noticed, oh yeah, something's actually happening. Maybe you know how like when hits happen or it is high. I would look then, but I was hearing nothing.
What
so
did Pat Still say to you today?
Yeah, he called me.
He
called me a communist.
He said you're a nice kid for a communist.
Yeah,
a nice guy.
Was he? I think he might have been confusing me, Chris, for me.
Wrong.
That might have been the problem.
I whatever. I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into this right now. And let's talk about how cool it was for the A's. I think it was, I was surprised to hear it on the broadcast. I think it was cool that they actually acknowledged it during the A's broadcast. They were completely silent as the chants were going on, and then acknowledged it. The Giants broadcast acknowledged it as well. I think it was a success for the most part. I mean, if the goal was to get Giants fans to participate, I saw on SportsCenter they showed the chants and showed them handing out the T-shirts as well. So it ended up getting on the national stage. I would say it was 100% successful.
They've got another chance to do it tonight.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's a great point too. Yeah, it doesn't have to just be yesterday.
ESPN says the chants came complete with horns being played, but those are the Zuzuvelas, right?
Yes,
that the A's fans have.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you call them? Soccer fans.
Vuvuzela.
Vuvuzela.
Yes.
Vuvuzela?
Yes.
What,
yes.
Zuzuvela? Okay.
Was that the South African?
Yeah.
That was so cool. That was like one of the coolest things.
It was cool the first couple games.
It definitely got annoying and like, I wish they were
A's
like
fans
that.
have had those forever.
Yeah, they're like, they're terrible.
The old Zuzuvelas.
Yeah, Zuzuvelas. Yeah, those Zuzus are there's something. But yeah, I mean, A's fans showed out, and it was really cool.
Fans right there with them.
They
That's
were.
nice.
Yeah, I don't know how many actually participated. I saw some videos. It looked like it was a majority of just A's fans, but
there was a ton of A's fans at that game.
A ton of A's fans. Like it seriously might have been a half split or maybe even more A's fans. Like it was a really good showing from them. They took up the entirety of the bleachers. It looked like it was a really cool event, really cool demonstration. And shout out with the 68ers, I think is the
there's two different groups now, and they're one of them.
Yeah, they did a really great job.
Yeah, and I got to give credit to Gabe Kapler, who said totally understand the sentiment in the Bay and totally understand the sentiment in the ballpark tonight. Good for him for acknowledging that.
Well,
yeah,
was that MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred?
No, that was that was the manager of the Giants, Gabe Kapler.
Oh, Gabe Kapler. I'm sorry. I thought you said I don't know why I thought you said Rob Manfred. I was like, he acknowledgement of something happening. Wow. Yeah, no, really, really cool for Kapler. I mean, I'm sure all the players understand, and all the managers also, they understand it's not personal to any of the A's players or anything like that. They have to understand the situation that they're going through. All those guys have played in Oakland as well, know how good that fan base is. And, I'm sure everybody's sympathetic for what's going on over there.
Alex Cobb, boy, he was spinning it last night.
Was.
He said something happened. He thought something happened to his pitch comp when it got so loud there.
Really?
Yeah.
He
pitched great.
That happened last time, didn't it? Also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Twice in a row. I mean, yeah.
Didn't you think Cobb looked good last night?
He did. Hey, Alex Cobb is on my fantasy baseball team. So that
really?
Yes, that
You
I
have
was
a
paying
fantasy
attention. I
baseball
do have
team?
a fantasy baseball team in an attempt to pay more attention to baseball, and instead I know about 20 players and what they do, and that's about it. So it's helped a little bit, but Alex Cobb was fantastic for the Giants and for my fantasy.
That's a big win for the Giants, bringing an end to their 6-game losing streak, and they're that it's a really tight battle for those final 3 playoff spots in the National League. They're right there, but the offense has been. Which I'm sure delights you.
Maybe that's honestly what it is. Maybe it's not my fault. Maybe it's the Giants' fault. I did pull up some numbers, if you want, of how exactly bad they've been. I was just looking the last 30 days. The Giants have 152 hits in the last 30 days. That is worst in Major League Baseball, behind the Oakland A's, who have 164. So 12 hits worse than the A's. The Giants, the last 30 days, have a 0.198 average. They are hitting below 200 for the last 30 days as a team. That is terrible.
So you see what they're doing about it?
Horrible. That's
you see
so
what they're
sad.
doing about it?
So sad.
So sad. Marco Luciano.
Marco Luciano. One of their
the
top
River
prospects.
Cats.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's been on fire recently. I saw
he 21, and it seems like he's been in the organization for 10 years.
Yeah.
It seems like he's been
one of
he's
their
young
best
now,
prospects.
but he's coming and he's going to arrive.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, he's going to play shortstop as well, and I know Crawford's been out for a while, and that'll be a nice addition. I think he's supposed to come back next week or earlier this week, they said on the broadcast. I mean, the Giants, after they won 8 in a row and then lose 6 in a row, they can't figure it out right now, especially, right before the deadline. Which way are they going to go in terms of the standings? It's
and the trade deadline after
tight.
losing 3 straight to the Nationals and then losing to the Tigers. They better take care of business against the A's. I hope they don't, but they better. I don't want them to, but they better.
It'd be a good opportunity for some get right games right here. And I would suspect that they're going to do something at the deadline, whether it be, we saw yesterday, the Verlander odds are pretty high for him to go to the Giants. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline. But they're definitely going to obviously make a push for that last for those 2 wild card spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hope the protests continue. Well done, Giants fans. You guys
Really
were
well
right. That was nice to see. It was one of the coolest things in the history of the Bay Bridge series. Coming up next, today in new uniforms, we have a look at an NBA team's new jerseys and an NFL team's new helmets. And frankly, I'm not impressed by either. Next year, Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. The NFL season is right around the corner, and Sactown Sports is your new home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Intercepted and coming back the other way. Talanoa Hufanga. Touchdown! San Francisco!
The big bad wolf!
Catch every 49ers game this season on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Attention home services contractors who want to grow their business with more leads while leveraging their marketing costs to receive over 10 times the value in advertising. Subcontractors United is offering 40 home services contractors from architects to landscapers to participate in our advertising co-op. For less than $2,100 per month, you'll share in over $83,000 a month in advertising. That's $1 million a year in advertising for under $2,100 a month. And because there's only 3 subcontractors per category, not 3,000. Your lead potential is unlimited. Generate more leads than you ever thought possible. Be one of only 3 subcontractors in a category and receive $1 million a year in advertising by leveraging the power of a united group. That's subcontractorsunited.com or Google Subcontractors United for more information. But hurry, categories are filling up.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Chad, what's going on for Chrysler's Make This the Summer event?
More savings than we've had all year, with up to $13,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 1500 Limited, Laramie, and Bighorns. Or you can save up to $5,000 off MSRP, plus get thousands more with 2.9% financing for 72 months.
Just one of the many reasons Hoblet is the #1 Ram truck dealer in California and #3 in the nation.
That and the fact we have the best selection of those hard-to-find heavy-duty trucks, with savings up to $5,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 2500 Crew Cabs. If you need a new truck, you won't find a better selection, with over 600 available and the most savings on the truck you want.
See why Hoblet continues to be California's #1 Ram truck dealer with more customer service awards than anyone else in Northern California. Stop by the Ram Truck Center today or search, select, and save through our whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
13,000 total net savings after 8,000 factory rebates and 5,000 dealer discounts. Rebates is based on 10% of MSRP. Must be California resident qualified. 2.9% special APR in lieu of factory rebate on approved credit through Chrysler Capital. Plus 700 plus FICO score to qualify. 1516 per thousand borrowed. Sample VIN 631-836. 5,000 total net savings on 2023 Ram 2500 Longhorns after 5,000 dealer discount. 5 or more at each net savings. See dealer for details.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Do it. Yeah, that was great to see and hear Giants fans supporting A's fans last night. But as we said, didn't appear that they actually did exactly what they were supposed to do. On the YouTube chat, Cat Pam Do says they didn't do it properly. If you look at the Oakland 68s, they were trying to get them to be quiet. Then they gave up and started with the drumming. So, yeah, I think this is what I was saying to Sheena as we watched. I think the plan is they like you to be quiet for the first batter of the 5th inning. Just everyone's quiet. Then as soon as the first out is made, then it's
right.
And it seemed like there was some fans that weren't sure. There was kind of a murmuring, and then somebody just started doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine.
Well, that's where it's tough, where it's not at your home field, so you don't have like a collection. Everybody is everywhere, and so I felt like it kind of started maybe like down the right field line, and then the 68s were in the bleachers, and so as it started over there, it was kind of like we could be sticklers about what exactly we wanted to do, but the bigger point was to get the chant going. I understand it probably would have hit a little bit harder if it's complete silence during that
still
first.
Worked.
It still worked. The point still got across, and I think the bigger point is the point that you were trying to get across, and I think that definitely came through, and that's really all you should focus on. The semantics of what exactly you were trying to do really isn't that important.
Alan F. asks, does the owner even care?
No.
Probably not.
No. I don't even think he watched the game. There's no way. I don't think John Fisher has any, and yeah, we had Casey Pratt on yesterday, and he said, I don't think John Fisher wants anything to do with Oakland anymore. It seems like he's completely cut ties with them, and, I don't think that this even comes across his desk.
The real question is, do the other owners care?
Exactly.
And they probably don't.
Probably
I mean,
don't. No.
the last thing any owner wants to do is get to a point where if fans are upset about what you're doing, they can force you to sell your team.
Right, exactly. It's
no owners are going, that's a good idea.
You know what? I like fan coups against owners. I'm right there with you. No, I mean, you're right. Like, there's no way any billionaire owner is going to sympathize with that movement. But I think, in Casey said it yesterday, the best thing that could come out of this is the Giants can show their support through a vote, like through the voting of the relocation. That's
vote against it.
Against it, exactly. That's really the only hope at this point, is that they can somehow get the message through from there. But even to your point, like I just don't see owners really liking this.
If
this
they
precedent.
did, I mean, it would be for appearances. I would guess they'd want to make sure this thing has
smaller
enough votes to carry, right?
Yes,
It's
exactly.
going to carry.
My vote's not
we're
going to
gonna
change
vote-
this, right?
We're
Yeah.
going to vote against it as long as it's going to carry.
Yes, exactly.
The Giants, from a business standpoint, of course, they'd like to have the market to themselves.
Love to have it. I mean,
Yeah.
there'll be no competition from here to LA.
I'd like to hope. Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing I don't think that they're right, because I could see a bunch of A's fans just not being fans of baseball anymore.
Exactly. No,
I can't see all these A's fans after. If you're a 45-year-old A's fan rooting for the A's your entire life, are you just going to become a Giants fan all of a sudden?
No, absolutely. I have tons of A's fans who are some of my really, really good friends are A's fans. They're just, I'm not going to watch like local baseball. I will just watch it from national perspective, or they'll pick another team, but it's not going to be the Giants.
That's
I mean,
true, but
there's no way.
If you have another team in your market, you're not only competing for fans.
Right.
I mean, if the other team loads up on players, all of a sudden, oh no, we got to do something. There are a lot of elements to the competition.
Well, the A's don't believe in that.
I know, but if they had different ownership,
yeah.
You know, if Joe Lacob
Absolutely,
bought
yeah.
the team or something,
Yeah.
so
Put some
I
pressure on
understand
them,
it.
And then like the Giants are like, oh, A's are serious now.
Right. And the Giants don't want to deal with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. The inverse of Chris's point is also like the new fans coming in, like the people who were being born today. You don't have to fight for their comp. Like they will.
They won't like baseball at all.
That's also
people being
true.
born today
That's a
are
great
like,
point.
what?
That's actually
Give me some slam ball.
fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic.
I'm saying that now.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying it. I mean, yeah. I'm saying it. Give
I
me
love
more
baseball,
slam
but come on, that's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. But in theory, I mean, yeah, you're no longer going to be competing against anybody else, even locally.
The other one way I could see this hurting is if you're a team and you're telling a city like, hey, we might move if you don't help us out with getting a new stadium. And these cities can say like Oakland did, everything right. And then you moved anyways. Why?
Yeah, you're right.
Why should we do that?
You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Sean. Hey, Sean, what's up? Would love to see this continue at every A's road game, at least force the owners to deal with it. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
But then, it's tough for the 68s or whoever to go to all the games and, organize all that,
Yeah,
especially when they're giving stuff away.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be really tough
I'd
for them
love
to
see
go to
that
Tampa
too.
Bay. I mean,
What they did at the All-Star game is amazing.
what they need is they need a Carmichael Dave. They need a guy to get in an RV and go all around town or
Oakland
go all
Dave.
around the
They need an Oakland Dave, yeah.
Exactly.
San Leandro Marty or
Exactly.
something.
San Leandro Marty, where are you at? Your team needs you right now to completely throw away the next couple months of your life and stay in an RV and go to baseball games.
Real quick, I know we've been talking a lot this week about some of the new uniforms. You like San Leandro Marty?
Yeah, sorry.
Some of the new uniforms in the NFL. We have a new NFL helmet and we have a new NBA statement identity uniform.
Yeah.
And
It's not a good one either.
I don't think so.
don't think
The Pelicans have Crescent City red uniforms. I like the Pelicans red alternates, but if you saw the video, Crescent City, I guess it's a geographical thing. The Mississippi River, New Orleans is located in kind of a bend, like a crescent-like bend of the river. So they're the Crescent City. So the video teasing this, they show all these like croissants and crescents and things. So I thought, all right, they're going to have crescents on the jersey.
Yeah.
And it just says Crescent City.
That's
There's
it.
no crescent.
Yeah.
There is no crescent.
They're really terrible. Like they
It's
are
like,
their red jerseys. It's just they threw on Crescent City above and below, and it's just I'm not a fan of it at
So it's
all.
like, okay, I thought you're going to give me a little more to work with than that, but that's fine. And then have you seen the Denver Broncos new snow-capped helmets?
I do. Do you not like those?
They're not snow-capped. When I heard snow-capped, it's just a white Bronco helmet. But I read somewhere snow-capped. I thought, oh, it's going to be like those Giants alternates with the fog.
Yeah, with like
it's going to be like
gradient.
a snow-capped.
Yeah.
No, it's just a white helmet. And it's not an all-white helmet.
It's not.
It's got the logos and it's got the stripes.
Yeah.
So how is that snow-capped?
It's you're right. Like even technically, the upper part of their helmet has the stripe on it. Like it's not.
Put a snow cap
it's not
on
as
it.
if snow fell on it. I think they're fine. I think they actually look really cool. Are they going to be wearing them with blue or the orange jerseys is what's going to determine it for me. Just the helmets themselves, I think are really fine. I actually
it's the regular logo and everything.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Well, it's their throwback logo. If I'm not mistaken, these are like the John Elway Day logo where they had the Bronco inside of the D.
Right.
Yes. Which I love that logo. I really don't like the Broncos.
Do you know they used to wear, I think, orange helmets with like a bucking horse?
Oh, I don't think I knew that. I
way back when.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I like these. I think they're fine. I think the Broncos have some of the better uniforms in the NFL. At least the throwback ones. I'm not a big fan of
I'm
the current
looking
ones.
at that orange Broncos helmet, and it is wild.
It's like a cartoon.
Yeah, it's like almost like a horse skeleton. It looks like like it could be like a haunted horse.
Those were, I think, like early 60s, something like that. The AFL started around.
Oh
60.
my gosh, what is that?
I was hoping they'd go back
What
to
is
those.
that?
1966.
Yeah, they
What
should have
is
gone back
that?
to those.
What is that?
It's a bucking Bronco, isn't it?
Yeah. Sort of.
Not really. It looks like somebody like a Rorschach test almost.
He's not a well-fed horse. Poor thing. Someone's not taking proper
Its
care of
jaw
it.
is broken.
It also looks kind of like a squid, huh?
What is going on? This legitimately looks like somebody drew it on a napkin and then just
I think it was one of those moments like, oh, the season starts next week. Oh no.
That's
Draw
the
horse
helmet I
quick.
wanted. That's the helmet I wanted instead of the snow cap.
This is like, you know how they have
Those are cool.
It's like a new trend to have like your rookies draw the logo.
Yes.
This is exactly what it is.
It's
This
not
is
that
like
bad.
if the Broncos rookies drew this logo. I've never
It's very
seen this
unique.
helmet before.
It's very striking.
It's definitely striking.
And very unique.
This legitimately looks like a kindergartner drew it. Like this is terrible. And the tail is like almost looks like the
Better helmet than the snow-capped helmet.
the tail looks like the Bronco is flipping you off. So it's like what
Good luck.
it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Well, these are throwbacks
That's
that I
the
don't
one I
need to
wanted.
see. Usually I'm in favor of throwbacks. These I don't go back to the orange ones. These make the white ones look a million times better. I'm even more in on the white helmets than I was before.
You know what's
So,
funny?
good job,
In
Broncos.
what year would that have been?
2000.
In 2000, I think it was. The AFL teams,
Oh,
they
those were
all
great.
wore throwbacks.
Yes, those were
Except,
awesome.
Like the Raiders, just like, no, we're not.
They just threw like silver on their like they had white jerseys with silver lettering and they were terrible. They were
I
absolutely
think
terrible.
the Raiders' first helmets were just black helmets with no
Really?
logo. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess everybody's was, right? I think the
lot
Vikings
of
were
them.
actually the first team to put a decal on their helmets.
Rams.
So,
Rams were.
Did they? They put that ram and everything?
The
Oh, okay.
Ram, yeah. The Vikings weren't around till like 60 something.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
Anyway,
well, it
yeah.
shows what I know. But yeah, no.
Give me that throwback and not the snow capped.
I
Come
would
on.
much rather see the snow capped ones than
I
these
wish we
ones.
could
These are
put the
absolutely
images
horrible.
up and take a
I
poll,
really
but
wish
I'll
we
just
could
be
too.
satisfied with the knowledge that
You should look it up
I'm
yourself.
right.
Pull over and look it up yourself.
Coming up next, putting the QB thing
That's
aside,
terrible.
what it's not terrible. What's
It's the Broncos helmet I'm still talking about.
I know you are.
It's
It's
really
awesome.
terrible.
What's the 49ers' most important storyline at camp? That is coming up next with Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins. Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
I think if you simulated the upcoming 49ers season with 17 games with Brock Purdy, with Trey Lance, and with Sam Darnold, I don't know that the end win-loss result is going to be any different.
So this year's 49ers starting quarterback is going to throw for 3,400 yards with 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
And I think all three are capable of doing that.
I agree with you.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
How far do you hit your 7-iron? The answers will tell you which tees to play, according to Josh Sens in Golf Magazine. Deep down, you know you shouldn't be playing from the tips, but it's common for golfers to play from too far back. Aside from higher scores, rounds become a grind and golf becomes much less fun. After several years of research, the USGA unveiled a new data-driven offering to find the proper tees called Best Tees. If you know how far you hit your 7-iron, Best Tees will tell you which tee boxes to play. A typical male golfer should be playing from 6,100 yards and a typical female golfer from 4,400 yards. Most players have a good idea of their 7-iron distance, with average male's distance of 138 yards and average female's of 100 yards. Throw out the occasional perfect shot, which travels more than those distances, and concentrate on your average. This will allow you to reach the vicinity of most greens in regulation and let you hit a variety of clubs on approach shots. Leave your ego at home and give it a chance. You'll have more fun. That's your golf to go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Attention, Sacramento Valley. Elk Grove Kia is on a mission to become the leading volume dealer in the region. Introducing the revolutionary 2023 Kia EV6 Wind Edition. This all-electric marvel will leave you breathless. And the best part? You can drive it home for just $399 a month. That's right. Experience the thrill of emission-free driving without breaking the bank. But let's not stop there. Elk Grove Kia is proud to present the all-new 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid EX all-wheel drive. This full-size SUV combines power, comfort, and incredible efficiency. With an impressive 36 miles per gallon, you'll be going the distance while saving at the pump. And guess what? It's only $419 a month. Elk Grove Kia, driving towards a brighter and greener tomorrow. 2023 Kia EV6 Wind rear-wheel drive, $39.99 plus tax, 36 month lease, $49.95 due inside. Residual $29,849.70 based on $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit, subject to Kia finance, still on approval. Benefits payment GK 8609104377. 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid EX all-wheel drive, $419 plus tax, 36 month lease, $49.95 due inside. Residual $25,915.05 based on $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, subject to Kia finance, still on approval. Benefits payment GK 8391894 limit expires 7/31.
Elk Grove Kia.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
If you want to hit the golf ball farther and straighter, the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers you the opportunity to experience the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA Tour professionals. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is an indoor facility that opens onto the driving range so you can see your all-important ball flight. With the advantages of cutting-edge technology and analyzing your ball flight, the Hagen Oaks professional staff will make you a better player. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway, or call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlot with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. U.S. women are back in action tonight. They'll be taking on the Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by goal differential. The game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. It's 11 o'clock. Time to check out Capital Casino. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Thanks for being with us. Question for you, Chris Watkins. Who was named the National Sports Media Association 2022 California Sportscaster of the Year? This was announced in January. And as you know, it's a very high honor. National Sports Media Association 2022 California Sportscaster of the Year.
I have no idea.
It was Warriors play-by-play announcer Tim Roy. Former Kings announcer.
Shout out
Worked at
Tim
this
Roy.
station for many years. I
Did he
mentioned
really?
Tim.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mentioned Tim because I just got a text from him.
Really?
Yeah. We were just talking about the Denver Broncos and the throwbacks. And Tim says, you guys should look at the Broncos horizontal socks that they wore in the 60s, horizontal stripes. Which, did I not mention that to you in the break?
Did. You literally, the first thing you said immediately after we were done with the segment was, the Broncos actually used to wear these vertical stripes, like vertical stripes.
And you looked them up?
I looked them up, and
great.
They're the worst things I've ever seen in my life. They look like almost like Beetlejuice socks.
Thank you, Tim. I
Thank you.
apologize for
Yes. Thank you, Tim, for bringing that to our attention. That is.
I don't think Tim's a fan of them either, frankly.
They're horrible. I mean, they are absolutely.
They wore those not only when they started, but I think in that, was it 2000, the anniversary year?
Why?
And those are the Broncos, but they're like yellow and
they're
brown
yellow
or
and
something.
brown. Like nothing about
Like
this
a
makes
Padres
any sense.
football team.
That is exactly what they look like. This is exactly what it would look like. It looks like they borrowed the Padres socks from 1950. These are absolutely horrible. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. And I'm seeing some that kind of candy cane around. Some of them are straight vertical. They look terrible. This is horrible.
When I first saw them, I'm like, oh, those aren't bad, because you guys were selling how bad they are. And second by second, I'm like, ugh.
No, they're horrible.
Yeah,
Hey,
they're
whatever
awful.
the opposite of grow on you is. That's
Yeah.
what they
Yes,
do, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Just the color scheme too. I mean, the same thing goes for the Padres, but why would you do yellow and brown? What
Yeah, I
about
don't
that
know.
color combo?
Back then, honestly, I don't know.
A
but
number one and a
they
number
didn't have
two.
a ton of money, I think. And if you hey, we got these pants laying around. They're brown. All right, that's our team colors. I don't know.
That's the only logical
Hey,
explanation.
we messed up on these socks. What do you want us to do with them?
Just
No,
keep 'em.
Just
They're
keep
good.
them.
Yeah.
We'll
They're
sell them
good.
to you for 50%.
Even worse, I'm looking at some so obviously the yellow jerseys are the home version. The away version is white, and they have white and black socks. Why? It looks horrible.
With the vertical stripes?
With the vertical stripes and everything. These look absolutely terrible. These are.
Now, if they
these
were the
and,
Denver Zebras, those would be
those
awesome.
would look awesome. They would fit perfectly, but
With
unfortunately,
that horse
they're
on
not.
the side, only make that a zebra.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It would be super easy. Just throw some black lines in there, and it starts to actually make some sense. But what I'm looking at right now makes no sense at all. These might actually be the worst jerseys I've ever seen. Like the worst uniforms, I should say, like head to toe uniforms. These are definitely up there.
Did those helmets even have a logo?
They
didn't
did
that I
not.
know
No,
of.
just the good old fashioned numbers on them, which I'm okay with. But obviously, it's not the most appealing looking thing. There's
So you like the orange Bronco helmets with the bucking Bronco, but
yes, no, don't
no. I'm trying to clarify.
no. The bucking Bronco is terrible. These are somehow worse.
Okay.
And the socks are the chef's kiss that makes this thing truly one of the worst things that's ever
Does
been put on.
anybody remember when the 49ers, this was when Eddie D still owned them, and they were going back and forth with the city of San Francisco because they wanted a new stadium. They thought they're going to get it. Now they're not going to get it. Now they're going to get it. And I think it was early on in the process when the 49ers were first thinking of going to Santa Clara. One of the ways they did a little saber rattling, and they changed the logos on the helmets and took off the SF, the classic SF.
Yeah.
And it said 49ers. And they showed those. They never wore them.
Okay.
But they actually, and I think it was in the spring of 1990 something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a 49er helmet, gold. Instead of the SF, it just said 49ers on it.
Like what's in the end zone? Like that same kind of font?
I think it was a different font, but
okay.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Those are terrible. Like
But they never wore them.
The Giants did that at one, but the football Giants did that. The Jets did that. Like, I don't think the lettering ever really worked. Like, you need a logo on your helmet. You can't just write something. You can't have font on your on your helmet. That just it looks nasty. So they made the right choice. I mean, the SF helmet is one of like the most iconic helmets that I think there is. Really pretty. And the Niners actually really haven't had many bad uniforms. Like I'm of course I've my distaste for the Niners is well documented, but I will admit the Niners do have some really good looking uniforms. The red, especially since they went from the burgundy, maroonish to more of like the solid red now. Looks awesome.
When I was a kid, I loved every year when football would come back, just seeing which teams have new uniforms because you didn't have the internet. You didn't know until you'd watch
week one. Yeah,
I remember watching like the Rams. Oh, what they're wearing blue and gold.
So sick.
What? That's cool.
So sick.
Yeah, and teams with new helmets and the Eagles now. Look, they got green helmets. Whatever
Kelly
it was,
greens
it was
crazy.
cool. So I love alternate uniforms and helmets and things.
Yeah,
but there are some that are just they're iconic and shouldn't be messed with.
Absolutely.
Like I think the Dodgers, and then
Mhm.
last night they were wearing Los Dodgers. Okay, it's the same colors. Yankees and the 49ers, I think, are one of those. I think
Yeah.
Dallas is one of those, although they
Right.
can pull off wearing a throwback here and there.
Yeah, I think the
With
Steelers
the stars
too.
on the stars.
You
on
know,
it.
yeah,
yeah, I
there's a couple
agree.
teams. The Steelers want to talk about some of the worst uniforms ever. Those Steelers ones that literally look like
The
they're
Bumblebees?
Yes, the Bumblebees looks like their longest
That's a touchdown,
yard.
baby.
No way, Whitey.
Because they give you a glimpse of football's past.
It definitely looks like they belong in
It's
the
a
past,
checkered
though.
past, but it's not checkered. It's
No, it's
striped.
not. It's they legitimately look like prisoners. Like they look like prisoners. Where they look like the Gotham team, the team that Bane blows the field up.
Uh-huh.
They
actually
literally
look
are.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they literally are. But
Yeah,
they
well,
look like-
Heinz Ward was one of the guys
Yeah, I
on the
think
Gotham Knights or whatever
Roethlisberger
they
too,
were.
right? I think
Oh,
Ben gets a slight appearance in there. Yeah, I mean those to me are definitely bottom.
Did you know
tier that
one
I've ever
year
seen.
during the war, around the war, the
Eagles
Cardinals
did
and the
have
Pittsburgh Steelers merged? So they were the car, you know what they called them? The car pits. And I think they were dreadful. But it was like during the war, it's like we're just trying to keep this thing
just
going.
trying to keep things going there.
Yeah.
That's,
Anybody who could play was like, well, we need them to fight. So
the carpets?
Car pits.
No,
Yeah.
the carpets.
Yeah,
that's
what they
terrible. The
called them.
carpets. they were the carpets.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That is terrible. I understand. You know, I guess you gotta. I would just pick a name. You're gonna be one of them. You're either gonna be the Pittsburgh Pirates or you're gonna be the Cardinals.
That might have been one of those,
Being the carpets is not a good
snide
option.
nicknames from the media.
Sure.
Oh, those guys, they're so bad. Everyone walks on them. They're the car pits.
Yes, hey, yeah, like the Florida.
While the
Raptors and all
boys
that
are
stuff.
overseas, the carpets are
Exactly
keeping
right.
me in game.
But the fans of the carpets wish they were overseas.
Jeez, yeah. What did they wear? Do you know? Let me look up the carpets. Jersey.
I'm not sure, but I think those Steelers Bumblebees might have been from around that era. I'm not sure. How about the top 10 camp stories? Pardon me. 49er camp. I got 3 stories that I'm really looking at. Take the quarterback thing. Let's put it aside.
Put it aside.
We've talked about that.
Are you
That's
sure?
important, But
Is
people talk way too much about the quarterback.
Are we allowed to talk about the 49ers without talking
Other
about
than the quarterbacks, we're going to give it a try.
I'm not sure.
I got
Okay.
right tackle, Colton
Okay.
McKivitz. I think that's huge. Can he hold
Absolutely.
down the spot?
Yep.
I got Debo. Is he, Kyle Shanahan said
Engaged?
yesterday, he sent me all his pictures with his shirt off. Ha ha ha. That was, everyone thought that was so funny because Debo's ready
It
to
is kinda
go.
funny.
And then I got to be honest, as much as I love Money Moody, I mean, that's a legitimate question there,
Yeah.
whether he can hold off Zane Gonzalez, because whether they used a 3rd round pick on him or 7th round, if Jake Moody struggles, he ain't going to be the kicker.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. I think those are absolutely the 3 biggest things. The Debo thing, I'm super interested in. We keep playing that audio of Debo saying, I talked with Kyle last off season, and I said I'd never put anything like that on film ever again. Is he going to be true to that? I mean, is he really going to come in to this camp in shape, which apparently he is, and is letting Kyle know? Is he gonna have another massive year like he did 2 years ago? Obviously, the 49ers could benefit greatly from Debo returning to that kind of form. And then, Jake Moody, as funny as it is to me that we are seriously talking about a kicker and how important they are to the success of the Niners, it is going to be really big for the 49ers if Jake Moody can be as consistent or, as important at least as Robbie Gould is. Like, I listened to Shanahan talking with Tim Kawakami yesterday in a one-on-one interview on his podcast, and he talked a lot about how he really loved having Robbie Gould on the team just because he knew it was an automatic from 35 and in. Now that's not going to be the case. How does that change his play style? Does Jake Moody get in some form of doghouse? Does Jake Moody gain the confidence of Kyle Shanahan? If that happens, it'll be interesting to see how much trust he puts in Moody.
But they do really like
away.
him. Obviously, he's got to perform, but they love him.
They love him. I mean, the way they talk about him is, and obviously where they took him in the draft speaks to how highly they think of him. If he can be a top tier kicker in year one. I mean, that's huge for them just in terms of extending the range of where they're able to get their points. I think, I mean, if Jake Moody is really good this year, that's kind of really, really big for the 49ers, as crazy as that is to say. Like, the kicker is one of the most important positions to look at for this offseason or for this training camp.
It's funny in a way because you go back to the glory days of the Niners with Bill Walsh.
Mm-hmm.
They were seen fairly or unfairly as kind of a finesse team because, they'll 5-yard handoff.
Yes,
they'd have
West
smaller
Coast,
offensive linemen. These 49ers with Kyle Shanahan, they are not a finesse team. And they had a quarterback in Jimmy who he got hurt a lot, but he had played linebacker in high school. He kind of brought some of that linebacker mentality to the quarterback position. And now they have a kicker who may have that same kind of mentality. George Kittle talks about how Kyle likes us to go to a dark place. They're a very physical team.
Yeah.
And my point is, I think Jake Moody is, to the extent that a kicker can
that's
bring that kind of mentality. I know he's a kicker, but it sounds like that's one of the things they like about him.
Yeah. Is he going to lay the wood on some kickoff returns or something?
Probably not a good idea.
He's going to look like Brian Dawkins out there on kickoff returns.
Blue collar.
No, for sure.
Big Ten, cold weather kicker.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Not like, I need to be in the dome.
Yes,
Conditions
exactly.
aren't perfect.
Yeah. And he played it, like you said, he played in Michigan, and coming over here to California, I'm sure is going to be really easy for him to adjust to. I'm sure he's going to be like, wow, this is awesome. I mean, I've been kicking in heavy winds and cold weather for his last 4 years, and now is in bright, sunny California. I think, again, if Jake Moody is really good, it's going to bode well for the Niners and just how they can attack offenses and their ability to get points. Like, just they can realistically, if Jake Moody has a 55+ yard leg, it's going to be really tough to just prevent them from scoring on any given drive. Like, their offense is already ridiculous. If you can add special teams to that as well, that's getting towards really, really dangerous teams.
Yeah. We come back with more on the most important non-quarterback storylines of 49er camp. And there's a star NFL running back. He's hurt. Or is he? Next with Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Jimmy G and the Raiders take on the 49ers Sunday, August 13th from Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And Sactown Sports has all your coverage.
Kyle's offense versus Josh's offense, just different mindset behind it. So I think revamping the mind like that is the first step, and then just relearning the language. Basically like going Spanish to French, something like that.
The voice of the Niners, Greg Papa, has the kickoff at 1 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
Your home for the 49ers.
Attention home services contractors who want to grow their business with more leads while leveraging their marketing costs to receive over 10 times the value in advertising. Subcontractors United is offering 40 home services contractors from architects to landscapers to participate in our advertising co-op. For less than $2,100 per month, you'll share in over $83,000 a month in advertising. That's $1 million a year in advertising for under $2,100 a month. And because there's only 3 subcontractors per category, not 3,000, your lead potential is unlimited. Generate more leads than you ever thought possible. Be one of only 3 subcontractors in a category and receive $1 million a year in advertising by leveraging the power of a united group. That's subcontractorsunited.com or Google Subcontractors United for more information. But hurry, categories are filling up.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins
on Sactown Sports.
Just showed Chris Watkins those 49er helmets that
I just saw those too.
Yeah, they trotted out years ago in the 90s, I guess. People didn't like them. They didn't catch on. So instead of SF, they took the SF off, put 49ers on there. Not a fan, huh, Chris?
No, they looked horrible.
It looks really very 1991.
Yeah, that's exactly right. February of 1991. Team was they were looking for a fresh look, and people just immediately, like everybody's like, "That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's terrible. Get it off of there."
Never
wore
them.
Never wore them.
Yeah, I was telling you, there's a college, I believe it's University of Charlotte, who is also the 49ers. very reminiscent to their logo, which just isn't a good one. It's definitely for the best that they didn't go with that.
I feel like that's the helmet they would use if they were showing the team in Back to the Future 2. Like, this is the future.
Yes. Or Any Given Sunday or
yes.
something like that.
Yes, 100%.
That's
Except
a helmet
like,
that a team in a football movie would wear.
They're like the 51st or something like that to the 49ers.
The 39ers or something like that. Yeah.
Should we be concerned about Debo?
I don't think so.
Should we be concerned about the kicking situation? Should 49er fans be concerned about the right tackle situation?
I think the right tackle situation is probably the most concerning part of this because, if that line doesn't hold up and if that's the side of the line that people decide to attack, which they definitely should with Trent Williams being on the opposite side, that could be a problem if Brock Purdy does have a great clock in his head, an internal quarterback clock in his head of when to let go of the ball. But, if that right side of the line is going to be a problem for them, that's not something that you can just patch up and patchwork and play through. I mean, you can ideally maybe run some shorter routes and, quick hits,
scheme around things,
exactly,
yeah.
Possibly. But that's also, that could absolutely be an Achilles heel to this team. And, McKivitz is fine and, has shown some ability to potentially hold down that spot. But, with right tackle, with linemen in general, also, you're going to deal with injury. And it's really about depth. Having lineman depth is almost as important as having, just solid line across the board, because inevitably guys are going to get hurt. You're going to have to shift guys over from right guard to right tackle or inverse or center to right guard, all that stuff. So, it's definitely a concern, but I think, with Kyle Shanahan's play calling ability and also the weapons that they have, they could, dump it off to Debo. They can dump it off to Christian McCaffrey. They have enough weapons to, if that's where they need to go, if they need to go to shorter developing routes, they're more than capable of scheming around it, but that still does leave it as a problem.
Yeah. You remember 2 seasons ago, the last game of the regular season, 49ers needed to win to be in. They were playing the Rams. Trent Williams was out, and so they needed somebody to play left tackle. And the story goes that coaches went to some of the defensive players like Bosa, like who do you think should play over there?
Genius, by the way.
Yeah, and they went to McKivitz.
Yeah,
he played well last year, and he's got the tools to be. They really like him as a run blocker. The thing is, it sounds like they're a little surprised by how well he's played.
Yeah. They were
he's the guy
him to slot into that spot. But they're showing a lot of faith in him. Like they could have made it work with bringing back Mike McGlinchey if they really wanted to. And the fact that it probably financially was the right decision to go with McKivitz, but it's a lot of pressure on him because the offense is ready to go. The offense is set. And if pressure is going to be something that does in this offense, that's a shame because they are a championship level offense, and if they can't go because they can't get the necessary protection, it'd be a pretty big slip right there.
That again gets you back to why it's so important in this offense, in any offense really, but especially in this offense, if the offensive line is at all compromised in terms of the pass blocking, to have somebody who makes the reads quickly and gets the ball out. And Jimmy at his best, he did that.
Yep.
And it looks like Brock Purdy has the ability to do that. Just
absolutely.
Very quickly recognize, the ball needs to go there. Boom.
Right.
Done.
Yeah. That's maybe
right
his
tackle
best trait.
Didn't do his job. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The ball's
exactly.
not in my hands anymore.
If you have that sense of pressure and just recognizing pressure, I think that's kind of one of the best skills that you can have as a quarterback. It's not just, when we talk about mobility as well, it's not just about, Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts, how you run the ball down the field. It is about pocket mobility as well. That's kind of the big, cliche about Tom Brady is he's not mobile, but in the pocket, he knows how to navigate. And truly,
he can get the ball really quick.
No, Brock Purdy knows how to do that. He's got really good sense of pressure, really good pocket presence. And like you're saying, he really knows how to put the ball on time and on target.
And that's still a question. As to
whether
Trey
Lance absolutely
can recognize where the ball needs, and it's not an easy thing.
It's really hard. It's one of the most underrated things about playing quarterback is recognizing that pressure, having that internal clock in your head and understanding you got to get the ball out. And a lot of guys want to hold on to the ball as long as possible, especially guys who have a background of running. They think that they can just escape.
Especially a guy, I would think a guy who knows I can make something happen here.
Yeah.
Something breaks down, I'm going to either be able to throw it over everybody's heads or I'm going to find a lane.
Right.
So that guy, it's almost like in his nature, I want to wait a beat to see what's there.
Exactly.
But this offense, like, no, that's not how we do it. So
or in the NFL in general.
It's against your nature.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of guys, especially the runners, they find themselves in trouble when they try and be pocket passers because in their head, they've always been able to just escape if pressure comes. But in the NFL, when you have guys like, like Nick Bosa, like TJ Watt, like Aaron Donald coming at you, those guys are ridiculously fast as well, and they can catch up to you. And, Trey Lance is a crazy good athlete, but I don't know if he has get away from those guys kind of speed. And, that's one of the better perks of having Brock Purdy is he doesn't need to have his legs. He's never been really reliant on his legs. And so he has that sense of when to get the ball out of his hands.
What's your best guess? 1 year from now, what will be the consensus on Trey Lance?
I think that I think the consensus will be that there is something still there, but it's gonna still take a couple years of development to get him.
And he needs to be
starter.
Somewhere else. That's what I think.
100% he needs to be somewhere else. I can tell you that right now he needs to be somewhere else. I don't think this 49er quarterback situation is the way for him to go. He either needs to be clearly the number 2 option or put in a situation where we are giving you the keys, but we are also acknowledging that that's going to take years of development. And whenever he gets into one of those situations, I think that's when he can truly thrive. But I think right now, being in this limbo state, I don't think that's
depends on
really
his contract though too.
Oh,
I mean,
sure,
if you can keep him around, if he could be your backup, even if he's like, I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we understand. But if you can save, because they've got some real difficult cap decisions to make next year.
Mm-hmm.
If he and Purdy are your quarterbacks and you're paying those two guys, he's probably going to be around a while.
Yeah.
If they have faith in him.
I think
Just
he
for
gets
the
paid like
financials
$10
of it.
million next year, which is definitely on the higher end for especially somebody who's not going to be playing. That's definitely the highest paid backup quarterback.
But if your starter's not making much, I don't care.
Well, that's the glory.
Which one we're paying,
Right.
as long as the total is well within reason.
Exactly. That's what's so glorious about having a 7th round pick as your quarterback is you're pretty much paying him pennies.
Hey, Jonathan Taylor, Colts All-Pro running back, placed on the PUP list after reporting to camp, and it sounds like that kind of took the Colts by surprise. He had ankle surgery earlier this offseason, and the Colts thought he was okay. They've said, it shouldn't be long before he's out there. Is he doing what the guy from the Players Association suggested running backs do? Remember last week?
Yeah.
I can't say publicly they should fake an injury.
JC Treader, yeah.
As he works on a new deal, is that what he's doing? I can't play. I'm hurt.
Possibly. I mean, he's got to know that he is the heart of that Colts offense that we were talking about. I mean, they have Anthony Richardson waiting in the wings, but until he gets in, it's going to be a lot of Gardner Minshew, which also probably means it's going to be a ton of runs to Jonathan Taylor. And he's probably thinking right now, why should I risk my body for a team that A, isn't very good, and B, a team that's probably going to run me into the ground?
If I have a chance to get a new deal and we're really working on it, and my ankle is even 99%, sorry.
No, yeah.
There you go.
Right. Especially this early in camp, like he's not going to lose his spot anytime soon. So he can, as long as he shows up, when he does show up, he's ready to go. No, I mean, why, I don't see no harm, no foul.
Coming up next year, we just had yesterday the highest paid contract in NBA history. And then we had the highest paid contract in NFL history.
Right.
So who deserved to be the highest paid player in team history in any sport? Who actually deserved that? It's next year with Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Thinking it's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Enjoy the prime grilling season today with a new lifetime warranty Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. My personal Napoleon P500 series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro. Napoleon Prestige grills, versatile grilling for every occasion. Form, function, and luxury can come in the same package. Just go to your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply for the best selection today, or visit Napoleon.com for a dealer near you.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Hard Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Chanson, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports' IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com and sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's film at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was a Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. U.S. women are back in action tonight. They will be taking on the Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by goal differential. The game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Didn't mention Bosa on the list of training camp stories to watch because I'm assuming he'll get that done. But then, and we'll talk more about that coming up at some point on the program today. You look at the salary situation with edge rushers, and typically, as we saw with Jaylen Brown and the Celtics and Justin Herbert yesterday with the Chargers, typically the next guy to come up gets the new deal and he's the highest paid.
Right.
But the gap there between where Bosa is now and where number 2 on the list is now and where Aaron Donald is, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
So it's not an automatic necessarily, although I'm sure if you're Bosa's agent and Nick Bosa, you're like, well, we want the most. We want more than Aaron Donald.
Right.
But the 49ers may not be in a position to necessarily do that.
Yeah.
So might be a little trickier than you'd think.
It's a little tough. Like
I
you
think
said,
they'll get it done, but
yeah, that
worth
gap.
keeping an eye on.
It's that gap that's going to be tough to try and bridge because, like you said, I mean, I think Donald's making $31 million per year, and I think TJ Watt is the guy who makes 28 or 29 million. So, I mean, the logical thing would probably, if I had to imagine, the 49ers are probably wanting to pay him 30. They probably feel like that's about right. It's the most of any edge rusher in the NFL, but not as much as Aaron Donald, who, I mean, he's getting paid that because he's the best defensive player of this generation. And, it was only right that the Rams compensated him properly after they won the Super Bowl. I don't know if the 49ers should necessarily follow that precedent. Like, I think that paying him $30 million and making him the highest paid edge rusher should probably be enough. I mean, I'm not Nick Bosa. I'm not his agent. I'm sure his agent's going to want every single dollar that they can give him.
You're not his agent?
I'm not. I'm trying.
I was under the
I'm
mistaken
really,
impression
really
you
trying
were.
to, but no, not yet. I think that, I mean, he's going to try and get his money for sure, but what is, I don't know. I've never been a fan of this. Oh, he got this, so I have to get this. $30 million. Are you really about to?
It's the way agents tend to think.
Exactly.
And that's their job. Yeah.
Agents are going to get a percentage of that as well. So if you get that 31 million, again, no math whiz, so I can't tell you what percentage the agent's going to get, but every single numbers dollar are hard. They're tough.
I
every
think
single
Dave
dollar
said today, I think he said like Jaylen Brown's agent gets now would it be 1.3 million per year on his deal?
And that's just on his deal.
I think
Who
that's what he
knows
said.
How many other clients he has?
That actually sounds like I might be low with that deal. But
Yeah,
still.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. If you're making like $69 million, I would hope you get more than one. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation, but I don't think that it's going to necessarily. I think they're going to reach an agreement at some point. It's, and Bosa, again, I said this yesterday, Bosa loves to play football. There's no way that he's going to miss actual game time to negotiate this contract. And I'd be shocked if they don't figure it out in the next couple of days.
There's also this. I know you played football. You played more football than I did. I played a little football.
Maybe.
From the little bit of football I played, I can understand anytime any NFL player finds any excuse to skip camp.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you got to get in shape. I know it's very important, but
please.
It's brutal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know it's not nearly as brutal as it used to be, but anytime somebody holds out or like somebody, well, they haven't signed a contract yet. I think Marshawn Lynch used to do that.
Yeah.
Hasn't signed his new contract yet. It's like, I don't blame him.
No, I don't either.
Wait a couple weeks.
It's hot, man. Like those sleds are no joke. And, I always played line, so I have no problems. Football was not fun. Like, especially for an offensive lineman, I never got, like, you're not out there running routes and catching balls. And even if you're a running back, you're just doing drills probably where you're, running through, the punching bags essentially. And like it's nothing really. I don't think they're missing out on anything. And like you said, as long as they're staying in shape, which I know Nick Bosa is absolutely staying in shape outside of training camp, that's all that really matters. I mean, they'll come ready. It's not like, you're really refining any skills.
Look at Debo last year. Debo never was in
shape. That's because Debo decided to not show up in shape at the time he was supposed to. I think everybody knows the clock and the schedule you're supposed to be on, and it's up to you as an athlete whether or not you're going to use your own off-season time to stay in shape. Some people decide to, use the off-season as the off-season, but the real great ones use the off season as an opportunity to get better and as a time to stay healthy and truly work on your game. It's a real determinant of how good of a player you are.
Beeman on the YouTube chat says Trey Lance going to be seen in the exact same light as he is now. I don't think he's going to get a real chance to show what he has, and we're still going to be unsure. The only way he'll be seen in the same light is if he doesn't play at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so thirsty to start figuring out what he is and to reach conclusions. We're going to overreact to whatever he does.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a small sample size.
If it's good, bad.
I think they need to play him because they need to find out too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think exactly. If he doesn't play at all, as a matter of fact, if he doesn't play at all, I think we'll probably view it worse. I think,
exactly.
It'll be, wow, they really don't have any faith in him at all. I think there's no way that come next year we don't have more answers towards what we think Trey Lance is at this point in time, because he's either going to play and we're going to see what he is, or he doesn't play and those actions will speak louder than anything else.
I understand some people on the YouTube chat and around sports fans were wondering yesterday, how can Jaylen Brown be the highest paid player in the NBA? Right. Well, as we all know, and as everyone knows, well, he is now. How's Justin Herbert the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? Well, he is for now. So let me just ask you this way. What's your opinion of this? Who deserved to be the highest paid player in the history of team sports? I know you're talking about older players, right. The economy was totally different. So if you normalize all of that, all things considered, who would you say that guy or that woman deserved to be the highest paid player in the history of team sports? To me, there's two people that come to mind. Brady comes to mind, but I don't, football players don't make as much. And he was great. But if you look at impact on the game, how much money they made for their teams and their sports, to me, there's two guys that come to mind. But I'm wondering what you think.
I would say Michael Jordan for sure.
Yeah, I would say so.
I
don't think larger than life.
Exactly. It's like the branding, the marketing, the actual on the floor play, the fact that he won 6 championships in 8 years. you know,
he made a league
speaks
with
for itself.
Magic and Bird
Yes.
were great. And he made the league, well, he had a little bit, something to do with making the league even more popular than
Yes.
it was when they saved the game.
Absolutely. And those were two people,
sport,
and just that one
business.
individual
Yeah.
ran the sport essentially for 10 years.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan, for very, very obvious
We
reasons.
talked yesterday, but he made what, 30 million a year? It's like he was grossly underpaid.
Yeah, exactly. He could have made 60, 70. It would have made sense. Maybe even more than that. I think LeBron for a certain period of time. Absolutely. I mean, the man made 9 straight NBA finals in a row. If you can guarantee yourself to make the NBA finals just by having this one guy on your team, seems like you could probably compensate him to a very high extent. The other guy I have on here is Shohei Ohtani. I mean, how about the guy who can be an elite level pitcher and an elite hitter at the same time in this day and age when it's unheard of to do so? I think
If they were
bringing
good,
that value is
Can you
huge.
imagine how valuable he'd be if that team was good?
Hopefully we're about to find out pretty soon when he's on a different team how valuable
He's
that
valuable to that team, and they're not good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would add, my guys would be the two guys that come to mind, Jordan and, from what we know, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth
sure.
was
He had a couple home runs too,
Yeah, and I think from what I've read,
He was making more than the president.
yeah, I had a better year than the president. Ha 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 ha. He was like one of, if not the original sports superstar.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
with endorsements,
Yeah.
the guy that people cared. What's he doing off the field?
great
What's he really
Bambino.
like? Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. The
He may have
Sandlot.
been that first guy.
Yeah.
And it happened to be the timing of when he was a great player and the culture was changing where we were more, we consume more media, things like that.
Mhm.
Not we, because we weren't there then. But
How much was Babe Ruth getting paid? Do we know?
I think he was making 6 figures.
Wow. That feels like a lot for, I mean, especially for those times. Like it's got to be.
And I'm sure he was making tons.
Plus,
of
he's got a candy bar now, right? The
endorsements
Big
and
Ruth
things.
or whatever. That
Yeah,
candy bar.
although they claimed it wasn't named after him because they didn't want to pay him money.
Really?
Yeah. They said it was named after President Roosevelt had a baby named Ruth. That's what we knew that.
For sure. Whatever y'all say.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Babe Ruth is absolutely probably. I mean, that's a great shout.
He may have ushered in the modern era of sports superstardom, even though they didn't use that term then.
Yeah, I'm looking at. He made. I don't know if this is career earnings. Let me see here. It says he made around. Climbed a mirror. Oh wow! So he made about $80,000 a year. It says.
Wow.
It says he
okay.
made $80,000 a year. Highest salary came in 1930 and 1931 at $80,000.
He never made 6 figures.
Never made 6 figures. Says Babe Ruth, widely regarded as the greatest baseball players ever, earned an estimated $856,000 in his career.
Which,
his
if you
entire
adjust for
playing career.
inflation, I have no
It
idea.
says
but
18 million adjusted for inflation.
So the 80,000 a year is $1.38 million in today's money.
It's like a rookie minimum for an
Like
NBA.
if
Like
Ohtani-
Jordan Ford is going to be
Yeah.
making as much as
Yeah.
Babe Ruth is gonna
yeah, yeah.
in a season. That's absolutely incredible.
But you got to remember, that's the time when you could buy a house for like $2,000.
Yeah.
LeBron's an interesting one.
LeBron, I think, is probably of this era the most deserving to have it. I mean, because he brings all of the Jordan notoriety, all the marketing, all the global interest that is him. Chris, would you throw any soccer stars in here? Like, would Messi or Ronaldo?
Lionel Messi, Diego Maradona back in the day.
Maradona, absolutely.
I think Pele was like one of the highest.
Were they just engines for making money for their teams?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, especially Messi. Messi
Maradona, it's like kind of a gray area because you have to take the trying to think out the
extracurriculars.
extracurriculars into
Off-field activities?
Yes, off the
Yeah.
field.
for him and for the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo has made a pretty penny as well. I feel like Messi's probably the best soccer answer for there. I mean, even then, he did make a ton of money, even regardless.
He's getting Apple stock for playing in the U.S.
Is he really?
Yes.
That's insane. I mean, yeah, it's either of this era, I would say it's either Messi or LeBron that would probably deserve to be the highest earning.
Who, in your opinion, right now in the NBA deserves to be, all things considered, the highest paid player?
Well, it was Jokic before it was Jaylen Brown. I think he's probably Giannis right now. I would say he does the most on both ends of the floor.
I don't have a problem with Jokic.
Jokic, I don't have a problem with at all.
Back-to-back MVPs and then a championship.
Sure. And then a championship. I mean, it doesn't really get better resume than that.
I'd go Shohei Ohtani, and then in football, I think Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes deserves every dollar of that. What is a $150 million contract that he signed, the 10-year deal? Or was that 500? I think it was 500 million or something like that. He deserves every penny of that. Patrick Mahomes is a good shout, but yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes does elevate his team to ridiculous levels, like we talked about yesterday. I mean, I'm not sure how good his actual roster is besides Travis Kelce and at the time Tyreek Hill, and it seems like it doesn't matter who his weapons are. He's able to make it at least to the AFC Championship game. So Patrick Mahomes definitely is a good shout.
Coming up, we'll see how you deal with the Sasha question. Next on Sactown Sports, Whitey and Watkins.
Whitey and Watkins. Sactown Sports.
The Kings are running it back.
Hammers it off the dribble against Gobert, and he was fouled. Oh my, what a take that time by Domantas Sabonis. It leads Gobert. That's draw. Two-hand flush off the dribble, thrown down by Trey Lyles.
And welcoming some new faces.
Yes, I love this. Tobias Jones with 2 more.
Now they go to Duarte in the corner for 3, and he rains it down.
Keep it locked on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
So I'm a public school teacher, and I'm on my feet all day long. That would be on concrete. The pain would like shoot up my heels and just increased from the bottom of my feet up. Then my back started hurting. So my husband and I were driving, and I went, oh, look, there's a Good Feet store. I'm greeted by this gal named Mercy. That was a perfect name for her. And the cool thing about the Good Feet store is that you're able to try before you buy. I had free fittings. She was able to fit me with special arch supports. And so I walked around in the store. Within 30 minutes, I started sobbing because I had no pain. Well, if your feet are hurting, do something about it. You don't have to grin and bear it. You need to go to the Good Feet store and get some arch supports. I'm Deidre, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how they work for you with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. I gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent sip. All over Febreze car clips right on your fit. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Summertime and River Cats baseball are the perfect pairing. The only thing missing is you. With weekly promotions, premium giveaway games, and unique theme nights, there's fun for everyone at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. Visit rivercats.com to purchase tickets.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Don't forget, we have this segment, then we go to break on Sactown Sports, but we remain on YouTube throughout that commercial segment. Mm-hmm. Who knows what we'll be presenting?
Yesterday was a song. Today,
it was like the early workings of a song. It was like seeing that Beatles documentary.
Yes, very
just like that.
Exactly. Almost exactly like that. Yeah. Behind the music.
Yeah.
Same vibe.
Yeah, like way behind the music.
Way behind the music.
Behind the music.
What if I try this?
Yeah. So today we may put those two pieces together. That may be what we try.
Really?
In that segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
excited. I had a dumb little thing, and then Verlots, I had something. What do you have?
Just casually.
Oh, that's really good.
I have something. It's called a number one hit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, crazy. Just holding on.
It's called Solid Gold.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. It's like, he's like that shy kid in the back who's like, I've been working on something. If it's my turn, and then he comes out with like the most incredible song anyone's ever heard, and it's like, whoa, why has he just been sitting there?
On the YouTube chat, Jamatom says, "Have y'all not seen what Mbappe just got offered? Not sure what brought about this convo." Yeah. Of course, we've seen that, and then it's been a big week for big paydays and big offers.
Yeah.
Although I still, from what I've heard and read, I don't know that Mbappe has any interest in taking that offer.
Doesn't seem like it.
As impossible as it seems like it would be to turn it down.
It's come out a little bit now that the team is offering him $200 million, and then $500 million would be in. I'm trying to remember how they're saying, like in commercial opportunities.
Oh. So you get all that money, but still you'd have to do more than just play.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Well, that doesn't sound worth it at all, and that is not what we were promised or what Mbappe was promised. So, I don't like that at all. And it doesn't seem like he's going to take that offer at all. I mean that's good to hear, because it would have been it just would have been an absolute circus if he would have taken that money and all the conversations that would have stemmed from it. It definitely would have became probably an international major conversation.
Another bad thing I'm thinking of, just like how European tabloids are and how ruthless they can be. Mm-hmm. If in the Euros next year he's not playing like to what we think he should be, everyone's going to be saying like, oh, see, that's what happens when you go play in an inferior league. He wasn't ready. He hurt his country.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Let's hope he doesn't hurt his country. JR joins us on Sactown Sports. What's up, JR? Thanks for hanging on.
It was nothing like the Beatles. I wouldn't listen to them, Whitey, if they were playing in my own garage.
The Beatles?
No, that's Whitey's go-to if he doesn't like a band.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, you two should be the highest. Well, actually, Chris Vallot back there should be the highest paid guy in the studio.
I agree.
He's back there. I love this YouTube. You can see him actually working. He's moving his arm, flailing around like he just got fouled.
I don't know if he's
be a yellow
working.
card back there.
I mean, he is moving around. I don't know if he's actually working. He is, somewhat active. What can we do for you today? Yeah.
He's getting his steps in. He keeps moving his arm around, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric Armstead should be the highest paid player on this defensive line. Don't kid yourself.
Really?
I think Bosa's way over his skis, thinking he's Ohio State and all that. You're talking about an Oregon Duck and a great Pleasant Grove Eagle on that defensive line.
Right. I know. Yeah.
I taught him his swim technique when I was coaching down there, and no one's stopping that. At least not for 2 or 3 plays.
Yeah.
So
that's good coaching right there.
Yeah. And
he's gonna have a
this
big
year, and once they play the Eagles and what's his name gets hurt, that would be a good place for Trey to go to the Eagles because they haven't had a good quarterback for years, and they deserve to have somebody better than what they got back there. I think I'm that guy.
Still a little bitter about that, are you?
Is Alabama even good in college football? I'm not sure. I haven't.
They haven't won in a while.
Game.
Yeah.
It's been at least a year since they won.
Thanks, JR. Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah. Good
Bye,
to hear.
JR.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bum over in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, definitely prime Trey Lance replacement right there.
When we come back, we're going to look at there's an ESPN poll that basically says it's a power ranking that says the Kings would be a play-in team next year as it stands. Also, as I promised, I mentioned the Sasha question. We'll get to that too. If Sasha were drafted in the draft we just had, and this is a question from B-Nut the Rock on the YouTube, where would he have been drafted? So we've got that and more coming up here. Whitey and Watkins. Don't go away if you're watching on YouTube. Sactown Sports. Do you want to try it, Chris? Should we give it a try?
Let's do it.
I'm sorry?
Do you want to try it?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. Let's see.
What's that? What's that? Huh?
What?
Wimbo who? Wimbo what? Oh, boy. Whitey's got like the full setup. He brought his guitar in the case and everything. He got the A's hat. Okay, hold on. Let me.
Do you have your A's hat?
I don't. I got this, though. This will be good enough.
Oh, all right. We'll try it.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. So, you know what you're doing on your part, right? Yesterday we were just like, how does this go? And I was showing you guys this is how it would go. And then next thing you know, it's like, hey, they did a song. Well, we didn't even finish the song.
Oh, I can do I can do a little drum here.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how this goes.
Try
to not mess it up here.
Yeah. You want to try it, Chris?
Let's do it.
You know where you come in?
Yes.
All right, let's see. There we go. Where's my word? Yeah. Yeah. This is, we haven't really rehearsed this, We haven't really rehearsed it.
Oh, look what you're doing there.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Keep the athletics in Oakland for the sake of Terrence Long. Moving the team to Vegas, that would be short-sighted and wrong. Keep the athletics in Oakland.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this song. Keep the athletics in Oakland. Oakland's where the A's belong.
Where they belong.
Sell the team.
Sell the team.
Sell the team.
Sell the team. One more time.
Sell the team.
Sell the team.
Sell the team.
Sell the team. There we go. Now
I think that's
classic.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Well,
I think that message definitely got across.
Right. I think so.
I think we just need to send that over to Spotify and just collect the royalties.
Exactly. That could be like our We Are the World. All proceeds will go to
keeping the team.
No, to us.
Yeah.
Maybe we can. I don't know.
It might need a little more work.
Guys, you have enough money now to buy the team.
We think we're probably going to collect those and collect some royalties on that as well.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome last night. I got to give you Giants fans a ton of credit. I didn't think they had it in them, and the two Chris's, were right. Giants fans, they took care of business last night.
I mean, yeah, it was. I just think it was like the human side of things, like it's not. It really. I just don't think it's that deep. Like maybe I'm way off, and maybe I don't fully understand how deep the hatred or the rivalry goes, but I would like to think that for something like this, I mean, we're talking about tearing a team away from a city or from a fan base. Like, you got to be able to sympathize with that. Like, this just kind of comes down to, basic compassion and, a certain level of, why can't I think of the exact word of that I'm trying to think of here?
The problem is for the A's, it's always been a rivalry. And for the Giants, it's been more like, what? And they kind of don't even consider it a rivalry.
Yeah. But my thing is, like, why would the fan? I get why the organization cares and why the organization would want to keep the A's going away. But from the fan perspective, like, again, like, these are your coworkers, your neighbors, your friends. Why would you have any ill will towards them? Like, put the organization aside. Just like,
Well, apparently you're right. I mean, they came through last night.
To an extent. I mean,
I would like
to see
difference, though. Is there any way it makes any difference?
No, there's no way. There's no way. I mean, maybe if it was like the entire stadium, but I don't think so.
Well, we gave it another shot with mixed results, trying to put together our Ace protest song. Christopher Lott had his song ready to go, and then it's not quite where it needs to be, but
it's close.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that wasn't the official recording. That was
of course not.
Yeah, that was like
it's a demo.
Yeah, exactly. That was like a sound stage.
Very rough demo.
That's like when an artist comes up and they're like, "Hey, I've been working on something. Do you guys mind if I play it for you real quick?" And it's just like, it's in the very early stages. It's like it's like you're seeing a number one hit being made. The process of how the juice is made, so
trying to come up with a little something for those who stayed with us on YouTube, and it turns out it's more something like, "Hey, sorry about that."
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's supposed to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, people seem to really like it. I mean, we're getting some claps. We're getting some
sympathy.
Yeah.
Notes. This is the question on the YouTube chat from B Nut the Rock. Okay, having to do with Sasha. Before we get to this somewhat troubling ESPN power ranking. Still, it's a power ranking, but still, The question is, if Sasha Vezenkov were drafted in the last draft, of course, the Kings already had his rights, but if he were drafted, nobody had his rights, where would he have been selected? You had Wembanyama first, then you had Brandon Miller, Scoot, Amen Thompson, his brother, Osir Thompson, Anthony Black, Koulibaly, Trace Walker, Taylor Hendricks, Cason Wallace 10th. Where do you think Sasha would have been selected? Keeping in mind that he's, 27.
Going to be 27, or he is 27, I believe.
Jed Howard 11th, Derek Lively 12th. He would have been taken before Derek Lively, wouldn't he? He's EuroLeague MVP.
I don't know. I think the age factor is really big in it. Like, I mean, especially when you're talking about the draft, you want to take guys who, realistically have a good shot of developing. And,
Jaime Jaquez Jr. would have been taken before him. He was 18th.
I don't know.
I think he would have gone around.
I think around 20s.
Really?
I think he would have gone in the 20s. Yeah, I do. I think that, I mean, especially when you're talking about rookies, that's more just the what if. Like, I mean, you're always going to convince yourself, like, Jaime Jaquez could be great. He could even be Sasha Vezenkov. Like, it's one of those things. It's like the mystery box. There's a Family Guy skit where it's like, okay, you can either have this boat or you can have this box, whatever's in this box. And Peter Griffin's like, oh my God, the box, like, it could be anything. It could even be a boat. And I think a lot of the time, the draft is very much like that, where it's, oh my gosh, Grady Dick, he could be anything. He could be Tyler Hero. He could be anything. Like, and instead of just going for that guy, you take the prospect of getting the rise of that guy and having them for 6 years growing into that person. I think that age plays a big factor in it, is more where I'm getting at. I think that the fact that he's 27, the years of development that they wouldn't get out of him, he would have to be good. And he kind of does have to be good in his first 2 years for it to make sense. And I think that teams are always going to convince themselves of going with the younger guy over the older guys.
But given that he was a EuroLeague MVP, and there's certain aspects of the professional game that he can handle.
Sure.
I don't know how well he could defend. I mean, I have a hard time imagining he wouldn't have gone before Lively, before Podziemski went 19th as a nice prospect. But Vezenkov he has a chance to be a star shooter. I think he would have gone closer to, I think he would have been top 12.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. No, I just think that age really, really plays a huge factor in it. And I know Sasha can come in and you can imagine him in an offense right now, but I just don't think that teams sell themselves on what you are right now, especially in the draft. I think it's a lot more about where you are as a player in the future. What are you 4 or 5 years down the line? And at that point, Sasha would be 31, 32. And I'm not saying as a player, he is deserving of being in 20s. I think his skill set right now is absolutely like he's going to walk into the league and be a lot better than Bilal Coulibaly, who was taken 7th. But Coulibaly has the potential to potentially get better and better. And, or he could potentially be way worse. I just think that teams are always going to bet on upside over, what they know and maybe not so much upside.
Yeah, I understand that.
Like Chris Murray, I think he probably goes ahead of Chris Murray, but Chris Murray is a really, really solid player that you can imagine in an NBA offense right now. And even
so you
he
think
went
around 20th, somewhere in there?
I think somewhere. I mean, Cam Whitmore went 20. I mean, he fell, but significantly. But I think
my guy Whitehead
around there.
went 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's such an elite shooter. We know that about him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but you think first round?
I think, absolutely first round. And that's also a massive step up. I think he was the 56th pick when he was picked all the way in 2016 or whatever. So, he's absolutely had his stock rise. And again, it's not because the player that he is, it's just, I really do think that it would be an upside thing. And, at 27 years old, not a lot of teams are excited about taking older rookies. So, I just think he would have gone a little bit later or more in the middle of the first round.
So maybe the Kings off season seems a little more palatable to those who had issues with it. If you consider that in a way, they got a guy, he's not a rookie, but if he had been, he would have been a top 20 pick.
Yeah, so for sure. Exactly. You're definitely, I mean, the Kings, to say the Kings did absolutely nothing this offseason is just not true. I mean, they brought in Vezenkov, who he's the equivalent of bringing in a new draft pick and somebody who we know is going to impact the game from day one, but also Chris Duarte as well. Like that is almost like a second draft, if you will, where he's still a really young guy, didn't work out on his first team, but still has something there that you would believe can make him an NBA rotational guy. I think Duarte is going to be a really big addition for this team as well. I think he's kind of one of the only guys who has some sort of defensive upside that they have on this team. There's really not many guys I can convince myself could be a plus defender, and I think Duarte is actually one of those guys.
I guarantee you, if the Kings get off to a slower start, I think it's possible they could get off to a slower start and still be better at the end of the year. And maybe they don't get off to a slow start, but if they do, and if it's right before the deadline and the Kings are, they're somewhere in the play-in area, I bet you there's going to be a lot of people calling this station and saying they blew it in the offseason. They did not do what they needed to do in the offseason.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I mean,
guarantee that. I'm not saying they'll be right, but people will be, because there are a lot of people right now that look at it and go, they didn't do anything.
Absolutely.
If it gets to that point, it's going to be, Kyle Kuzma's averaging 27 a game for the Wizards. They could have got it. Why didn't they get him?
Yes, I think that's 100%.
Those people will be wrong.
They will be wrong.
We will hear from them.
They're going to have, because people are just going to look at the numbers. They're going to look at the win-loss ratio. They're going to look at the first round of the Kings. They're going to say 3 seed, and they're going to be like, the Kings are none of those things this year. And so by virtue, they must be a worse team, and they must have made the wrong decision. I just don't think so. I mean, Monty said it in that Amick and Slater piece.
Amick and Slater.
That it's
good sitcom. Good morning show too.
Slamick. Yeah, I love it. He said in there that, it's not going to be, it might not be a linear thing. Like they might be a 6 seed next year, but they still might be better in the long term for it. And I think, to think that they have to have more wins and have to be a higher seed and have to go to the second round in order for it to be a successful season next year, I just don't think that's right. Like, I think that we can see things in next season that could still lead you to believe that this team is better or at least better positioned in the long run of things.
Here are these ESPN power rankings that I mentioned. If you could, please keep track of how many teams we mentioned in the West, okay? Because they have number 1, Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
Number 2, Milwaukee Bucks. Number 3, Boston Celtics.
Okay.
Number 4, Phoenix Suns in the ESPN Power Rankings. Number 5, Miami Heat. And these take into account the draft and everything.
Sure.
Number 6, Philadelphia 76ers. Number 7, Los Angeles Lakers. So how many Western teams is
3.
that now? Number 8,
7.
Golden State Warriors.
4 of 8.
Number 9, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Interesting.
Number 10, Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
Number 11,
You're at 5.
Los Angeles Clippers.
You're at 6 Western Conference teams. So that is the play-in.
There you go.
That is the playoffs.
Yes. Number 12, Sacramento Kings.
Okay.
Kings free agency was spent building cap space to re-sign Harrison Barnes, extend Sabonis, rather than make a flashy trade. They did get Duarte, who's a good addition, but is it enough for the Beam team to take the next big step forward? There's also no harm in running it back with the same team to see what this young group can do now that they have some experience and success. By the way, it goes Knicks 13, Dallas 14, and then OKC 15, then Minnesota 16. So in the unlikely event that this is accurate and this is the way the teams finish, Kings would be in the play-in. What would be the reaction to that?
I mean, people would, like you said, they would call the station. They would be upset. They would say Monty greatly overvalued the players that he had in his system and overplayed his hand. And now the Kings
should have never brought Barnes back.
Exactly.
Needed to get rid of him.
They're going to perpetually be in this position. How are they going to get better?
Jeremy Grant.
He paid Sabonis all this money and he can't produce and all of this. Mike Brown maybe should be fired now.
Wow. I don't know about that. Maybe.
I think maybe Jordy Fernandez. Maybe we should give Jordy if all of these other teams want Jordy Fernandez, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we bring him in and try and get ahead of the curve? Just the most random wild takes are going to come out if that happens. And I'm not even saying it's not a possibility. I could see this is almost like the worst case scenario for the Kings. I mean, if Golden State does not suck next year, which I think there is a possibility that things don't go well for them if they end up figuring it out, if the Lakers are truly as good as they were the second half of last year, if Memphis can survive 25 games without their best player, if the Clippers can stay healthy, yeah, this can definitely happen, but those are a lot of ifs. And I just think the Kings, this is almost factoring for the Kings' worst case scenario as their team as well. Like this
Clippers
is showing no improvement.
Huge question
Mark.
Right?
I mean, Kawhi and Paul George are both coming off of injuries again. And I don't think they've really improved their roster at all. They're in these James Harden talks. If that goes through, I don't necessarily think that makes them a ton better. I just think this is kind of a nightmare scenario for the Kings. I'm not saying it's one that couldn't happen, but this to me is the most unlikely result of them all. And sure, the Kings might also fall on their own, injury bug and all that stuff. But I just think with the depth that they have, I have a tough time seeing them regress this far. Maybe if you want to say they're not a 48 win team, they're a 45 win team, or traditionally the 48 wins get you a 7 seed anyway. I just think that the Kings will be able to compete a lot better than the only way this pans out this way is if the West is like it was last year and the 7 through 4 seed is separated by like 2 or 3 games.
The Warriors won 44 games last year and the Clippers won 44 games last year. And we know the Warriors, the company line is, with the what happened, and then we didn't have chemistry.
Right.
And I think to a degree that was used, I give them credit for this. Some of that was used as a smokescreen for the fact that they weren't that good last year.
Exactly. Yeah. No, Steve Kerr said it at the end of the season. The most surprising quote I heard from him was, I think we maxed out this team.
Yeah.
I could not believe he said that.
He didn't go back to that after that. He said that one time, and then it was, what happened?
Yes.
The chemistry went sideways, and that was that.
Yeah. No, I mean, he didn't believe in that team all year, and they overperformed, if anything. I don't think it's a given that with the Chris Paul situation, and they're not nearly as deep as they were last year either. I mean, Jordan Poole was a major piece of both their starting lineup, but also when he was coming off the bench. They don't have that this year. The Chris Paul fit isn't perfect. Draymond's a year older. We saw some signs of wear towards the end of last season. They still have the Draymond Kevon Looney thing. That's not a perfect seamless fit. Klay Thompson continues to last year offensively he looked better, but defensively continues to slide with age and, removed from his injury. I don't think it's a guarantee Golden State's going to be as good as they have him. They have them as the 4 seed next year. That just seems really high for me. Memphis, John Morant's not playing until December. That's a really long time. And, if the Kings do get off to a good start.
They have played well without him in the past.
They have. No, they've played incredibly without him in the past, and that was more so 2 years ago, but they've shown capability of playing without him. But 25 games is a really, really long time to not have one of your best players. That's the first 2 months really of the season. They're not going to have John Morant and then have to slowly incorporate him into the lineup again like they did last year. The Kings just don't have those kind of questions. The Kings are bringing back everybody. They're bringing back everybody except for Chimezie Metu and Terrence Davis. They're going to have a lot of continuity. They're going to know how to play with each other. They're going to try and build off the momentum they had last year. It would be really, really tough for me to see them being the play-in team. I'm not saying they can't, but this would have to be a nightmare scenario.
Here's the crazy thing about the West. We all know this. We all remember it. If you followed it, you had Utah last year, won 37 games. We agree there's a really good chance they'll be better than
yes.
that.
Okay.
Then you had Pelicans won 42. Timberwolves won 42. Oklahoma City won 40. We know, as we said earlier, the Clippers won 44. You had the Warriors won 44. I think and the Lakers won 43. So it's just really dense
really
in
tight.
there.
Yeah.
I think there's a really good chance, maybe not to that extent, but I think that's going to continue for the next several years, where you have maybe not as much of that congestion as last year, but I think it's going to be part of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's because it's so stacked. There is tons of talent in the Western Conference, and it is really hard, unless you're a team like Denver, who just has more top end pieces than everybody else to really stick out. Like even Phoenix is going to go through a lot of struggle. They don't have a lot of depth. And those 3 guys haven't really played much. They haven't really played at all together. Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal haven't played much. And DeAndre Ayton is just kind of floating around. He's like, I don't think they want me here. So I don't think that situation is going to work out perfectly. They have a new head coach out of nowhere. I thought Monty Williams was doing a great job. They're just going to shoehorn in a new coach and a new GM there. So, I could see things not going well for a lot of teams, but for the Kings, I unless they fall upon injury, I don't see how the Kings aren't just picking up off of last season's success. It's really hard for me to picture that.
I think it's going to be more important for these teams to be better towards the end of the year than they are at the beginning, to be getting better. I think that's going to be more important than actually how many games you win, as long as you end up in the postseason.
Right. So it's kind of like
be more important.
It's kind of like baseball, where it's important when you're playing well, not your overall record. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
The nature of the conference.
The Lakers proved that last year. Yeah. Miami did as well. Like it's if your team is going in that second part of the season, which the Kings also were. The Kings had one of the best records in the NBA post All-Star break. It's about when you're playing well, and if things are clicking at the right time, if you're healthy at the right time, and that's not really something you can predict. You can't really predict health.
ESPN tried to predict them.
They tried to. I don't think they're doing very good, though.
Actually, it's a power ranking, not a prediction. We'll see.
It seems like an easy way of getting around it.
We take a quick break, come right back with this. Which NFL quarterback's under the most pressure to win this year? Next, Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. The Kings are running it back.
He's got the bucket at the buzzer. Harrison Barnes, Alex Lynn just went above the iron with a 2-hand throwdown. And that was as nasty as we've seen him in a Kings uniform.
And welcoming some new faces.
Oh, and here comes Vazenkov. He gets the big finish.
Fisher rejected by Mr. Vazenkov.
Keep it locked on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Enjoy the prime grilling season today with a new lifetime warranty Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. My personal Napoleon P500 series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro. Napoleon Prestige grills, versatile grilling for every occasion. Form, function, and luxury can come in the same package. Just go to your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply for the best selection today, or visit Napoleon.com for a dealer near you.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Woo! Thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it. Whitey and Watkins. We were just talking about the Kings and ESPN's power rankings. Have the Kings 7th in the West, huh? All right. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Taking
notes.
7th in the West.
They must not know Sacramento does not forget. They don't forget.
It's possible. It's that jumbled. It doesn't seem likely, but it's certainly possible.
It's possible. It's not. I would not say it's probable.
They're just giving too much credit to some of the older veteran teams because
absolutely
Chris Paul and Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's just
LeBron.
It's also I think, and it's also I think people have viewed, especially from the national perspective, that the Kings offseason was very meh. And like you said, people wanted the sexy move. They wanted them to bring in Kuzma. I bet if the Kings brought in Kuzma, they'd probably be a 5 seed or something, just because there would be more hype and juice behind them.
They'd be a worse team.
They would.
Yeah.
I really, truly, and I will fall on that grave. I will die in that hole. That Kyle Kuzma would have made this team worse. Yes, he might be a fine individual player.
Hill.
That's what I was trying to say. I was like, I'm trying to fall in a hole.
I know, and
like,
then you said you're dying in the hole, and I was like, man,
that's
dude, I'll get you out of the hole.
Thank you, please. I just think Kyle Kuzma wouldn't have been a fit. I just think it would have completely changed what the Kings like to do on offense and the style of play that they like to play. Wouldn't have worked out. Sorry.
Maybe if that's the way people look at it, maybe the Kings have a chance to, believe it or not, sneak up on teams again a little bit.
I think so. And I think that's a much better situation for them to be in. I don't like the thought of the Kings being front runners. It makes me very nervous. And I just
doesn't
don't know.
seem right, huh?
Yeah. It just doesn't seem like a position that they would do well in. And it feels like as long as you're the underdog, you can just take care of business. No one's talking about you. You don't start feeling yourselves a little bit too much. I think it's a really good place to be in when no one's talking about you.
That happened before, obviously, with the Weber team, Bibby, Doug Christie, Vlade, because those guys were like, wow, it's the Kings. And then within a couple of years, whoa, it's the Kings.
Mm-hmm. I think
perceptions change.
Yeah. It changes like that.
degrees.
It just takes a couple of years of experience. I mean, if the Kings made the second round last year, as simple as just winning one extra game, again, I'm sure there's a lot more hype, and just the way that they're talked about is different. But after 1 year of making the playoffs, and it was a really fun series, ultimately they didn't come out on top. And so people aren't going to give them the respect of being one of the best teams in the Western Conference. For now, it was just, that was a really cute, fun season we all had, but can they do it again? I very much doubt it. That's the narrative that's out there right now, and they got to go beat it.
Mm-hmm. The Kings actually were probably favorites against the Lakers, and I think in some ways that might have worked against them.
I think
Kobe and Shaq, like, we're the underdogs.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. It's like, and I'm sure it fueled Kobe and Shaq. I'm sure they were like, we're the underdogs, and it gives them something to prove as well. And I just think that the Kings are in a lot better situation now if they view themselves as the underdogs for now.
Speaking of something to prove, yesterday, of course, Justin Herbert got the huge deal. He's now the highest paid quarterback in the history of the National Football League. What quarterback is under the most pressure to win this year? Would it be Justin Herbert after yesterday?
I think Justin Herbert absolutely has a lot of pressure on him. I don't know if he has the most. I mean, he's in a division still with Patrick Mahomes, and that's always going to naturally be a tough hill to climb. But he needs to win for sure. I mean, there's a lot of questions on whether Justin Herbert the Chargers, Justin Herbert has been incredible for his career.
He's amazing.
Most passing yards and total touchdowns in his first 3 seasons in NFL history. Justin Herbert has. He's been second in passing yards the past 2 seasons in the NFL. He's put up numbers, but the success hasn't been there. And so, he does have a good deal of pressure on him. I wouldn't say he has the most pressure on him, though. I would say
25-24
as for his career.
Yeah, with one playoff loss.
Not very good. That's not very good. And I don't think that's his fault either. I mean, he has tons of weapons and he's done the most that he can with that. That defense, Brandon Staley's supposed to be like some defensive genius, and that defense has been a little disappointing. Last year, they had Joe Lombardi as their OC. He was terrible, maybe the worst OC in the NFL. They bring in Kellen Moore, who was really successful in Dallas, made that Dallas offense last year look incredible. I think that could be a big jump for him. I think Aaron Rodgers has an argument for the most pressure on him. He's in this situation where he's kind of made it Super Bowl or bust in New York. He left the Jets, he left the Packers to go be in this great ideal situation for him in New York. And he's got a timeline. It's either this year or next year that he's got to get the ring, or else it's kind of like why didn't you just finish your career in Green Bay? I think Kirk Cousins has a good amount of pressure on him to win. People have a lot of questions about him. He's in a contract year, probably won't be with the Vikings next season. So he's got to prove to the rest of the league what he is as a quarterback.
I think Josh Allen has some, but I think Dak may have the most.
Really?
Yes. Because at some
I think
point
so,
you got to
sure.
prove you're the guy.
Yeah.
On the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think.
And he may not be the guy.
I think that's more what I think I just have a more firm opinion on Dak than like I do think
you're already convinced he's not that guy.
I just think he's not. I think he's Kirk Cousins. Like I think he's really, really fine. I think you can win with him, but I don't think you will win because of him. Like he can definitely run a really high level offense, but if you're going to ask Dak Prescott to outduel another fantastic quarterback, I don't know if he has the capability to really step up in a moment and make play. Kind of like what you said about Kirk Cousins. Exactly. He can make throws, but can he make plays? I just haven't really seen it from Dak these past couple of years. How about Russell Wilson as well?
Yes.
Somebody who lost a ton last year. Like,
yeah.
If Russell Wilson sucks again this year, is his
Did you have a bad
career
year
over?
or are you terrible?
Yeah, like his career could kind of be, for the most part, over after this season. I know he signed that huge, I don't even know what his contract is with the Broncos. It's something absolutely absurd. It's like 5 years, $200 million or something. So he's got to prove that he's not washed, and they fired their head coach, brought in Sean Payton exclusively to make this Russell Wilson thing work. He's also in a very tough division with said Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. He's got to rise up and prove that he's worth everything that Denver has already invested in him. If not, that situation is a absolute disaster, and I don't know how they climb themselves.
Russell Wilson. Oh,
go ahead.
Okay,
Both
he's
said
got a
Russell.
5-year contract with $124 million guaranteed.
He'd be at the top of my list.
Yeah, he's got to win,
and he wouldn't be. He might be top 5, not near the top per se, but Brock Purdy has a lot to prove this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, those are really the two guys I think that, they can lose their jobs potentially if things don't go really well this year. Like, I mean, Trey Lance is just waiting in the wings if Brock Purdy struggles, but
I know what you're saying about, what you're saying about Dak is that, we pretty much already know what he is. Maybe some people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Would that also apply to, well, I don't know. When you look at the guys with the most approved this year, now Justin Herbert doesn't have much to prove. I think Lamar Jackson has a ton to prove.
How about that? I mean, just signs this massive contract. He's another person. I don't think he's had much playoff success.
What about Derek Carr?
DC,
is he another guy that we know what he is already.
Yeah, I think we kind of know what he is, but also the
He's
Saints
got to prove that it wasn't me, it was the Raiders.
He's also got a very low bar to clear in that NFC South, where, I mean, Derek Carr does to an extent have to prove you're better than what's out there, and Derek Carr should be good enough to elevate that Saints team, which does have a lot of talent, to winning that division. That division is absolutely terrible when you look at the other quarterbacks. I mean, Baker Mayfield, you have Desmond Ridder, you have Bryce Young as the other guys. Derek Carr, what we think of Derek Carr should be good enough to carry them over those teams. And if not, to your point, shows quite a bit about who the quarterback that Derek Carr actually is. And I think he's also been one of those quarterbacks who's a little bit in limbo. He's in that Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins conversation of, I don't like. He's good. He's not
kind of
terrible.
Slowly sinking.
Exactly. Yeah,
Towards
definitely.
the bottom of the rankings.
Absolutely. It's
slowly but gradually.
Ever since his injury, it's been it's just been a completely different guy, and it seems like the Raiders moved on from him, and he's definitely got something to prove this year.
Our bold Kings predictions of the day are coming up next year. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
I think if you simulated the upcoming 49ers season with 17 games with Brock Purdy, with Trey Lance, and with Sam Darnold, I don't know that the end win-loss result is going to be any different.
So this year's 49ers starting quarterback is going to throw for 3,400 yards with 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
And I think all three are capable of doing that.
I agree with you.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Times the value in advertising. Subcontractors United is offering 40 home services contractors from architects to landscapers to participate in our advertising co-op. For less than $2,100 per month, you'll share in over $83,000 a month in advertising. That's $1 million a year in advertising for under $2,100 a month. And because there's only 3 subcontractors per category, not 3,000, your lead potential is unlimited. Generate more leads than you ever thought possible. Be one of only 3 subcontractors in a category and receive $1 million a year in advertising by leveraging the power of a united group. That's subcontractorsunited.com or Google Subcontractors United for more information. But hurry, categories are filling up.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. U.S. women are back in action tonight. They'll be taking on the Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by goal differential. The game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
It was awesome last night the way Giants fans supported A's fans in their protest against A's ownership. I mentioned on Twitter that as much as I appreciate the spirit of cooperation, that I still thought the split caps are actually worse than some diseases. And I said, minor diseases.
Yeah.
So Leonis on Twitter, he actually sent me a list of top 5 diseases that are not as bad as the split cap.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to read them because I'm afraid I'll say something, some
I'll
disease,
offend somebody.
and someone will say, "That's real funny. I had that, and I had to have my spleen rotated." And I don't want.
It's very safe. Yeah.
Just
know that
it's
there
a
is
joke.
5.
Yeah.
There's at
He had
least
the
5.
disease of me first diagnosed
Hey,
by Pat
that's
Riley
cool.
as
Yes.
one of them.
Yes, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, split caps are split. What's worse?
Thank
Would
you,
you?
Leonis.
How about jerseys? Split. I mean, not that there's a different feeling about it, but which one is worse in your opinion? Split hat or split jersey, or is it about the same? It's same idea, obviously.
Not the same.
Yeah, I think it's jersey's worse. For
I
me.
could swear, they seem to be almost uniquely a Bay Area thing, but I think I've seen Carmelo wearing like a split Yankee Met cap.
Yeah, that's
I
terrible.
think I've seen pictures of that.
That's really horrible. Like, where do
so
you
that's
even?
which is more of a this is where I'm from, I guess.
Where do you purchase them? Like, I've never gone into Lids and seen like a split cap section or even.
I
like
don't
the
know, but
jersey.
there was a time like late 80s maybe, or they were just everywhere. I think they sold them at the games.
That's terrible.
And it was like, hey, I mean, it's just to me in a way it confirmed
team.
a lot of the negative things that fans in other cities said about the Bay Area. It's like,
Yeah, right.
we like everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't just.
Not that we
pick
care
one.
what they think.
I
but
just
still.
hope both teams go out there and have fun. How about that? That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't even like unless you are a family member of somebody on, or you have multiple
Good
family
point.
members.
Good point.
You have the Kelsey kind of situation or something like that, or now the Murrays. That's it. That
Yeah.
is exclusively why it would be okay.
You're right.
Family
I
members.
agree completely. Last year in the NLCS, the Phillies played the Padres, and the Nola brothers actually
Right.
faced each other, and the parents were there. And one of them, at least one of them, maybe both, had the split jersey,
Right.
Padres Phillies. And I was like, well, of course.
Of course, exactly.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the only situation, and a situation like last night is unless you're trying to show some like solidarity between your gangs or something, like that's when it's okay.
Why is it okay last night?
Well,
You still have to root for one team or the other.
Well,
don't
you're
you?
showing you're a Giants fan, but you're still showing your support for the A's. Or
Yeah.
I guess actually in that situation, like you can just put an A's hat on, right? Like that's
Yeah.
Is
You say, you know
also,
what? I feel for you guys. I want to help you, but I still want my team to beat your team.
So
I'm
is
not gonna
it
wear a cap that's half your team?
like is it more okay to just wear the other team, like because people get killed? Like if I, as a Vikings fan, if I were to wear a Packers or a Bears jersey or something like that, people are going to absolutely destroy me. But would it be better to just wear the split cap so I'm still showing my Viking support, but I'm also like, yeah, go
Would it be
Bears as
better?
well?
I don't know. It'd
Or
be
should
what-
I just
it would
lean
be-
into it and wear
What's the
all
word?
Bears attire?
Gutless. That would be the word.
Okay, that's
Am
fair.
I right, Chris? You see, you know what I'm saying?
Neither one is good.
Yeah.
I thought a split hat would be good for you, Watkins, because you're always kind of like trying to make a decision one way or the other.
Unnecessary, Simone. Unnecessary.
So the split cap was invented
No.
For people like Chris.
No, I can pick teams. I just can't pick. I just am very indecisive about everything else. Teams, I can make that decision, but decisions themselves, no, I can't make those. Those are tough. Split caps, no. I mean,
I guess there are some
Something
people
is-
that honestly love both teams, but you know what? We don't have two separate leagues so much anymore. We have interleague
Right,
play now,
yeah.
so you're gonna have to make.
I have an
good
NL
call.
team and an AL team. How about that?
The worst thing is in soccer, they have split scarves.
What?
For every team, for
What?
every single game, there is a split scarf for every single team.
Why?
I don't. It's like, hey, I was at this specific game.
Right.
Well, in
Scarf.
soccer they have friendlies, so I'm not surprised.
Watkins,
If you watched that Wrexham United game, it wasn't so friendly last night.
Shut up. I hate you so much.
Chris, aren't you
Yes,
a
Simone.
Libra?
No, I am is that stars? I think I'm a Scorpio.
When's your birthday?
October 26th.
Yeah, never mind. You're a Scorpio.
Scorpio.
I was gonna say your indecisiveness would make a lot of sense for Libra, but I got nothing with Scorpio.
No, nothing with Scorpio.
Nope, I'm out.
Mm.
All right.
I got nothing to say. And then I've never really.
Don't worry, she'll be cheering for you in Factor Fantasy.
Hey man, I'm on a streak, man. I'm winning. It's people
I
like.
know.
to see
Don't
winners.
let it
I know Whitey's really letting it
in
get
a
to
row
him.
would be crazy.
I think you need to mess with him again.
No,
I think you need to get him off his game.
No, absolutely not.
Anyway, before we get to that, yeah, bless everybody. You know,
3 in a row.
Giants fans
It's coming.
pulling for the A's fans in their predicament. Time for the Bold Kings prediction of the day.
Let's do it.
Yesterday, we
BKPOD.
both stepped in there, both boots, and we were kind of saying the same things about Sasha.
About Sasha,
I said he's going to start 50 games, and unbeknownst to each other, you came up with
all rookie,
very similar.
all rookie
prediction.
team for Sasha. So we're both in alignment there. We have not discussed what our BKPODs are going to be. Today, mine isn't really very specific. It's more just a general vibe thing, but the Kings offense will be even better.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is bold.
That is bold. I mean, the efficiency wise, the most efficient offense in NBA history, according to offensive rating. The Kings were absolutely ridiculous through the roof last year.
They will again set a record.
I think so. I mean, offenses
shattering offense, even though it'll be their own record they
yes,
shatter.
Absolutely. Offenses in
That's
general
bold.
are just through the roof. It feels like everybody has kind of figured out how to play offense in this NBA with shooting and spacing and all that, and pace as well. And the Kings somehow got better, got more weapons offensively. Chris Duarte, Sasha Vezenkov are going to be huge pieces of the offense. They got everybody back pretty much. That was really important to their success last year. I don't see how they don't at least equal their offensive production of last year. And, you know, with the pieces they have, I could absolutely see them being even better than they were last year. Don't want to put a number on it, but just vibe wise, I feel like we're going to feel like this offense is on a different level.
I've heard some people saying something like, well, if Harrison Barnes just focuses more on defense, he'll be a better defender, and then the team will be better defensively. It's like, that's
not how it works.
Basketball works.
Not at all how it works. I know they say defense is about effort, but there is a level of skills and athleticism that also is required.
You know, let's face it, you need his offense too.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah. Harrison Barnes, he was our third, I believe he was their third highest scorer on the team last year. They still need Harrison Barnes to be
think he
productive
necessarily will be again, but still, he's a guy who helps you with his
he's not just
consistency.
going to fall off a
both
cliff.
ends of the floor. It's like, just focus on your defense this year, honey,
No.
and don't worry about the offense, and then we'll be great. It's like,
No.
what sport are you watching?
No, maybe if he was built a little differently, like maybe if he had a crazy long wingspan and he was if he looked like Jared Vanderbilt, sure, maybe I would say that.
He's not Clint Capella.
Yeah, exactly. He's 6'8". He's, not as big as other forwards he's going against, like Giannis and Paul George and LeBron James, Kevin Durant. He doesn't really match up with those guys. He can put his best effort towards those guys, but Harrison Barnes cannot just turn his career into being a defensive stopper out of nowhere and really forget about his offensive production.
That makes
That's
no sense.
ridiculous.
That
I mean,
make
Harrison
any sense.
averaged 15 points per game last year. Was actually their fourth highest scorer, right behind Kevin Huerter at 15.
He's got the Jimmy G thing going in that Jimmy G. Oh, if he'd only completed that pass to Emmanuel Sanders. Harrison Barnes. Well, if he just made that shot.
If he just made that shot. Right. No, absolutely.
It's not fair, but that's one of the things that.
But that's also what makes them them. Like, Jimmy's never going to complete that pass, and Harrison Barnes probably isn't ever going to hit that shot. Like, that's what makes them them and doesn't make them a different caliber
Certainly
guy.
one way to look at it.
I'm like, it's just kind of who they are. Like, that's why they were, like Harrison Barnes has never really been one, as Draymond Green so beautifully put out. Like, they weren't concerned about him shooting that. It's kind of that's what you game plan for, is to put Harrison Barnes in that kind of situation. And when you're going against the 49ers, you want Jimmy G to be the one who is making the plays to win the game, because he doesn't really always make those accurate That's why
plays.
I'm the bad boy of media saying, look, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Are you ready for my bold Kings prediction of the day?
Yes, I think so.
The Kings will be better than they were last year.
Okay.
A very good chance of winning in the second round, but they are not going to win as many games as they won last year in the regular season.
Okay. So you're going 48, under 48.
Under 48. And I don't think ultimately it's going to matter. Okay. I do think, as we said earlier, I think there's going to be a lot of, from the fans, if things are not just, a linear improvement wins wise, there's going to be a lot of hand wringing and they should have done this, they should have done that. Ultimately, I think it's going to be fine and they're going to be better, but I don't think they're going to win as many games.
I think it's going to be really tough. It's definitely going to be really tough to win more. Like, if they're going to be a 50-win team, that's probably going to require them to beat a lot of those teams that we were just mentioning, a lot of, the Clippers, the Memphis, the Lakers, the Golden States. I mean, it's just the Western Conference is so much deeper. You don't have the Spurs, who are a bad team. The Rockets are improved over last year.
I don't see where the defensive improvement's going to come from, and I don't think it's that. They're not going to be terrible, but it's tough to improve on 48 wins when you can't guard people any better than they can.
Right, exactly.
In my opinion.
And that's a great point, because that's really the only way that I can see them getting over that 48 win mark, is if their defense is better than it was last year. And that's not a very big, big bar.
It's a low bar.
It's a low bar. Exactly.
It's a low hill to crawl on, as you would say. Right?
Exactly. I just can't speak English. It's really tough sometimes. I think that's really their path to being better than 48 wins, is better defense. But as we've stated countless times, I don't see the personnel changes that make them better.
Remember, I said they're going to be better. I think they're going to be better.
A better team, but not better win-loss.
All right, coming up next, Justin Herbert deserves his new deal more than Jaylen Brown deserves his. That's in fact or fantasy. It's next with Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
3 in a row.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports has all your 49ers preseason coverage.
Nick Bosa right through the middle, throws down Matthew Stafford.
Nick Bosa is a rapper and wraps tight underneath.
Backwards pass to McCaffrey, and he's going to throw downfield wide open. Brandon Ayuk, touchdown! Christian McCaffrey can throw.
Catch every 49ers preseason game on Sactown Sports.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe.
Eesh.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors, with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day,
and dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
This could be the start of a break-in.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Or the end of one. Introducing 24/7 Lifeguard Protection, only from Simply Safe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Attention, Sacramento Valley. Elk Grove Kia is on a mission to become the leading volume dealer in the region. Introducing the revolutionary 2023 Kia EV6 Wind Edition. This all-electric marvel will leave you breathless. And the best part? You can drive it home for just $399 a month. That's right, experience the thrill of emission-free driving without breaking the bank. But let's not stop there. Elk Grove Kia is proud to present the all-new 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid EX all-wheel drive. This full-size SUV combines power, comfort, and incredible efficiency. With an impressive 36 miles per gallon, you'll be going the distance while saving at the pump. And guess what? It's only $419 a month. Elk Grove Kia, driving towards a brighter and greener tomorrow. 2023 Kia EV6 Wind rear-wheel drive, $39.99 plus tax, 36 monthly lease, $49.95 due inside. Residual $29,849.70 based at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, zero security deposit, subject to Kia finance, zero loan approval. One of this payment GK 8609104377. 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid EX all-wheel drive, $419 plus tax, 36 monthly lease, $49.95 due inside. Residual $25,915.05 based on 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, zero security deposit required, subject to Kia finance, zero approval. One of this payment GK 88391894 expires 7/31/2023.
Elk Grove Kia.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, even in a tough year for the A's, there are still some good baseball stories, including the one of former Oklahoma quarterback Cody Thomas. His career was on hold last year as he missed 4 months because of Achilles surgery. At the time of his call-up this year, he was leading the Coast League in RBIs, and the comeback was completed when on the last homestand he drilled a ball to right field for his first Major League home run. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
Players of all abilities will tell you that Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course is the area's #1 course for fun. Whether you're a beginner or an accomplished player, Bartley Cavanaugh has something for you. It's a great walking course, but motorized carts are available too. The moderately sized greens and generous fairway landing areas will add to your satisfaction and smiles for the day. Near the banks of the picturesque Sacramento River, Bartley Cavanaugh features the brand new tap room for all your beverage needs. For tee times, visit bartleycavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins.
On Sactown Sports.
People on the YouTube chat getting excited about the possibility of the Kings playing a Christmas Day game against anybody, but especially if we're the Warriors. Yeah.
I don't know if the Kings are quite at that level yet. Like, I don't think so. Not like, no.
I think it makes the most sense.
I think they are, because I think the ratings for that series, and I know mostly it had to do with just how popular the Warriors are.
Yeah.
But I think the Kings are kind of a thing.
I think they would do Memphis, Golden State still first. I think they would do LA, Golden State first. I just think the Kings still.
Ja. No, seriously, without Ja.
He'll be back at that point.
How many games?
Mid-December, 25. I just looked it up. Last year, the 25th game of the season was December 11th for the Kings.
Okay.
So he'll just be coming back. Maybe maybe the NBA will be smart and not want to put him on primetime television immediately after coming back from his suspension. But he should be about 5 or 6 games back after that.
If I'm the Warriors, I'm pushing for the Kings because that gives you a chance to have Christmas with your family type of thing for both teams.
But if you're the network, wouldn't you want to have the Warriors and Lakers?
That's what I'm saying. I just think that the Kings are a little further down the pecking order. I don't think the Kings from the national.
It depends.
I think they still think it's a fun story. I still think that
that is my bold Kings prediction of the day.
What's that?
Kings Christmas.
Kings Warriors at Christmas.
Okay. All right. You know what? Noel. Right.
And what is your bold prediction on this, Chris? You're going to win Factor Fantasy.
Yeah. I mean,
third day in a row. Is that what you said?
I mean, I would say that would be it, but that doesn't feel very bold. That doesn't feel like a bold statement to me.
This is the most unindecisive he's been.
Yeah. Here's Chris.
Reward me, please.
Yeah.
We'll see. Justin Herbert deserves his fat new deal more than Jaylen Brown deserves his. Guy who's predicting a win today. Factor Fantasy.
Yeah, I'm going to start this off with the fact that that's an absolute fact. That is so true. That's the fact. Yeah. I mean, Justin Herbert is more deserving than Jaylen Brown because Justin Herbert's actually a top player in the NFL. Like, Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback right now in the NFL. He is deserving of being paid as such. And like we said earlier, it's not even really, he is being compensated as the top quarterback, but he's not, that's just going to be eclipsed next year. He's deserving of being in that conversation. Jaylen Brown is like top 20, maybe. He's not a top 5, top 10 player in the NBA. The fact that he is the one that is the highest paid guy after Jokic was it last time, and I know Dame makes $60 million as well. Justin Herbert is absolutely more deserving. He is actually a top player in his league.
Justin Herbert deserves his fat deal more than Jaylen Brown deserves his. That's a fantasy. It's a fantasy because neither one of them deserves their contracts, and it's equal.
Wow.
There's an equal amount to which they don't deserve their deals. Here's why. Jaylen Brown has been a key part of Boston choke jobs in the postseason now 2 years in a row. I mean, major choke jobs where you have a chance to beat the Heat, you fall down 0-3, and then you come back, and then you still lose. Year before, they were up 2-1 in the finals with a lead in the next game at home, and they lost. Jaylen Brown had a lot to do with that. And all I'll say about Justin Herbert, he's got this many numbers and that many numbers. Last year, he got his team to the playoffs, and they were winning 27-0, and they lost. They were winning 27-0, and they lost, and he's the quarterback of that team.
Whitey getting on the board early.
Yeah! This feels like collusion.
That was a fake cheer from Simone. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, neither one of them deserve it. So next question, starting with you.
I appreciate it, Simone.
Denver coach Sean Payton should be applauded for pointing out the hypocrisy of the NFL's gambling policy. Fact or fantasy?
That's a fantasy. Maybe he has a point there somewhere, but it's not for him to make. You're the coach of a football team, and one of their players just got popped for this. So what Sean Payton's job is, it's not to point out to us all the inequities of the NFL. And, with Bountygate, I got suspended and it was terrible. No, your job is to make sure your players understand the rules and that they don't violate them. You need to make sure all your players know you can't gamble on anything. Can't gamble on football. Can't gamble at the team facility. All right? Don't do that. You're the coach of the team. That's what you should be concerned about, not pointing out to us the hypocrisy of the Shield.
Sean Payton should be applauded for pointing out the hypocrisy of NFL's gambling policy. That's a fact. I mean, he should be applauded. I mean, like what? The fact that he is supposed to make sure his players know what is and what isn't okay, but he is still pointing out the fact that the NFL has owners that invest directly into FanDuel, into DraftKings, and yet his players are being suspended for literally, I mean, they're not investing, but they are participating in said companies. Like, I don't see really what the difference is. And yeah, I'm not going to, yes, he should be doing other things and making sure that his players are in line as well. But somebody's got to say something about the NFL, and it's going to mean a whole lot more coming from a coach than from a player. So yeah, I mean, he deserves some credit for calling out owners, where I think a lot of coaches probably would be really afraid to say anything bad about the guys who sign their checks.
I applaud both you and Sean Payton.
Thank
Chris
you.
Watkins,
Thank
you
you.
get the point.
Thank you.
I 100% agree with you.
Thank you.
I didn't believe a word of what he said.
Okay, he didn't listen.
He didn't believe
He
it.
didn't listen.
The Broncos' new white so-called snow cap helmets are very nice. Factor fantasy.
This is a fact. I'm sorry, Whitey. This is a fact. I already know. No, I already know you don't like this because these are cool helmets. They're white helmets. They're a lot better, as we established, than their old orange kindergarten decaled helmets from the past. They're really, really solid helmets. Are they the best helmets I've ever seen? No, I really like the Broncos light blue helmets. Probably would have been a cooler option, but yeah, I like it, and it's not a bad helmet, which we've seen a couple teams out here throw some really bad uniforms out there. I've got no issue with the Broncos whites.
Broncos' new white so-called snow-capped helmets are very nice. Factor fantasy does fantasy.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a snow white like fantasy. It's a white helmet. All right, whatever. And then they decide they're going to call it snow-capped because we're in Denver, where it snows. I was expecting when I saw that something like, the Giants with their Nike alternate City Connect jerseys, whatever they are, where they have fog on the numbers. Now, that's not my favorite effect, but I thought that's what we get here. They're not snow-capped. It's just a helmet that's white with the stripes and the logo. Ooh, snow-capped. It's a stupid white helmet. There's nothing special about it. It's totally unnecessary.
I would say, and this is our last one, so this is for the game, that they are nice helmets. If they were called the Broncos white helmets, but they're called the Broncos snow-capped helmets, you actually get bummed out when you just see it's a plain white helmet. Whitey, you get the win. I am sorry, Chris.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your prediction did not come true.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's a wise
This is
judge.
ridiculous.
He's every day I find out he's
This
smarter
is
than
ridiculous.
I thought.
This is
I thought he was a
absolutely
genius.
insane. No.
Yeah.
This is collusion. This is collusion. I feel like
Snow-capped
we need to get a
helmets.
third person in there, and it needs to be a majority vote.
I think this is the
ridiculous.
8th protested game.
This
of
is absolutely
Factor
yeah.
Fantasy.
By the way, I'm withdrawing all previous protests.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All of a sudden. All right. Well, I am
Hey, good
putting
match,
today's
buddy.
result.
Good match.
That was a good match. It wasn't a clean one, but it was a good one.
Coming up next, why don't the 49ers just pay Nick Bosa and be done with it? There's a good answer for that, and it's coming up with Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track, makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17, in-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Everyone knows that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers. And that's especially true when it comes to your air conditioning system.
A precision tune-up and professional cleaning costs a little bit up front, just $87, but will prevent much bigger, more expensive, and inconvenient problems later.
We actually replace systems all the time from people who don't get annual tune-ups. They either forget or they just don't realize it's important. So instead of their systems lasting 12 or more years like they should, they need to be replaced in just 6 or 7 years.
Don't risk it. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Call Bell Brothers for an $87 air conditioner precision tune-up today and keep your system clean, energy efficient, and in good working shape.
Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com. That's 916-444-1234 or online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
No surprise guys, Bell Brothers.
Hey, what's going on? Talking to Chad Hoblet, Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, what's going on for Chrysler's Make This the Summer event?
Right now, you can save up to $13,500 off MSRP when you lease a new 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe, with leases starting as low as $389 a month. With that kind of savings on one of the most popular plug-in hybrids in America, coupled with the money you'll save on gas, it's a win-win.
Oh, and those Jeeps are really nice.
They're pretty awesome, but that's not it. If you're looking for a truck, you have to check out the new 2023 Ram 1500, because right now you can save up to $13,000 off MSRP on new, limited, Laramie, and Bighorn.
Hey, you can buy in confidence with Hoblet's award-winning customer service and the Hoblet Peace of Mind Guarantee. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
13,500 total net savings on select 2023 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xEs after 11,000 factory rebates and 2,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include 7,500 federal tax credit at time of purchase on leases only. $389 per month for 36-month lease on 2023 Wrangler Willys 4xE, $4,995 due at signing, plus tax, license fees, and any accessories. Lease offer on approved credit through Chrysler Capital. Mileage limited to 10,000 per year. 25 cents per mile will be charged for excess miles. 5% savings. Sample VIN 696708. 13,000 total net savings on new 2023 Ram 1500 Longhorns after 8,000 factory rebates and 5,000 dealer discounts. Rebates equals 10% of factory MSRP. 5% net savings.
If you're ready for some leisure in your life, let me recommend El Macero Country Club, just 15 minutes from downtown Sacramento. Play our stunning championship golf course. Practice on our manicured short game facility. Cool off in our 50-meter swimming pool. Play tennis. Enjoy social events and mouth-watering dining options after a great day of play. We're now accepting new social and golf memberships for a limited time. Visit elmacerocc.org and put some leisure back in your life at El Macero Country Club.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. The U.S. women are back in action tonight. They'll be taking on the Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by a goal differential. The game kicks off tonight at 6 o'clock. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
The race for the text/YouTube chat of the comment of the day is still wide open, although Tim Roy's a heavy favorite. Tim Roy texted about the Broncos uniforms in our first hour. It's like,
Those
Tim
socks.
Roy, so
Yeah. Plus, he was right. I mean, those socks were god awful.
The vertical socks from the 60s. So he's atop the leaderboard.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty good gap there, but anything can happen.
So they were wearing those socks with that helmet?
I don't think so. I
Okay,
think
got it.
I think the helmet, the
They're
orange
brown
helmet
helmets.
with that really dramatic stallion kind of rearing.
You're making
like
it sound
like
a lot
a
better
work
than
of
it
art.
is.
You know,
It
I think
looks
that
like
came later.
It was a reject of A Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's like very much reminiscent.
They were saying,
of,
"Oh, this is too creepy."
Do you know that horse, the mascot of the Broncos, has a name?
Bucky.
That's exactly right.
Should be Bucky the Bronco. I mean, it makes sense. Absolutely.
Well
Yeah,
done.
It's easy. That's
Mhm.
easy. I could feel like I
Well
could
done.
just guess the name of a good
did.
handful of mascots.
You did.
Well,
On the YouTube chat,
Hidden
Russell
talent.
says the snow cap helmets are clean. Yeah, they're nice,
I
but
shoulda
they're
won.
just like, What's the snow cap? Ooh,
Yeah, they should have
snow
said
cap.
they should have said white helmets.
Yes.
I mean, what you want them to like have a little beanie on top of it or
If
something like
they're
that?
called the snow-capped helmets,
Yes, exactly right. Beeman says, how hard, he asked the question, how hard is it to not gamble on football or at the team facility? It's not like it's rocket science.
Well, where do you get your best football thoughts? Probably immediately after playing football. So you're like, oh, I got to get this bet down before I forget it. I guess I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. It does seem like a pretty simple concept. They are pretty clear. You just can't do it on any team facility, whether it be a plane, locker room, any of that stuff. And I think it's fine to bet on other sports, but yeah, you can't bet on football, period. But
Yeah,
you can't bet,
I don't
you can
know.
bet on other sports.
Remember when Plaxico Burress shot himself?
Placidentally shot himself.
Yeah, and it's like you can't have a gun and you got in all kinds of trouble. Jim Fossil, I think at the time, was in the UFL. So we did an interview with him and he had coached the Giants and he said, those guys know. We told you cannot. In New York, especially, you can't have a gun.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's the same thing they tell them about gambling.
Yeah.
Guys, you just can't do it. All right. You understand? Please understand.
Yeah.
We're trying to save you trouble.
I mean,
and it still happens.
I don't think knowledge is
I'm
the
not
barrier
comparing
there.
betting on, on DraftKings to shooting yourself.
Sure. But I mean, also I'm sure Jordan Addison knows not to go 140 miles per hour in a 55.
Well,
and he
his
still
dog
did
was
that.
sick.
His dog was sick. That's true. But
His dog had an emergency.
yeah, I don't think knowledge is what's preventing these guys from not betting. I think it's just the fact that they don't believe they're going to get caught for whatever reason. They
I think
think
you're
that,
right.
oh, there's no way. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing it on my phone. They're never
Right.
like, unless someone tells, they're not going to find out, but they don't understand the NFL has their ways.
That's one thing Sean Payton said yesterday.
Yeah.
And he did. He said he told the players, look, this is your phone. They track this.
Yes.
They can tell where you are when you're on your phone. Okay.
Yeah, they know. They know. I mean, there's no way of hiding it. You're not going to outsmart these guys. They're literally trying to catch you.
Are you at all concerned about Nick Bosa's new deal? It's not done yet. Therefore, he's not in camp.
I'm not concerned. No, I think it'll get done, and I think Bosa's a baller, and he is somebody who is absolutely not going to miss football games just because his contract isn't exactly what he wants it to be. Plus, the Niners are going to pay him. They're not just going to play hardball and not sign the defensive player of the year from last year. They know that they have to pay him a ridiculous amount. It's just how much exactly it is. Is it going to be more than Aaron Donald, or is it going to be the highest paid edge rusher, but just below Aaron Donald?
Here's part of the problem with this deal, and The Athletic broke it down today. Aaron Donald kind of skewed the top of the D-line market. He signed a record extension worth $31.7 million annually. That's the average per year, and there's a large gap in average per year between Donald and Watt. And so that Nick Bosa's agent is in there trying to bridge all or most of that for Bosa's contract.
Mm-hmm.
John Lynch says this one, it's a little more complex. No timeline is there. I can tell you that we're working hard. We have good communication. Part of the problem from the 49ers standpoint is they have about $10 million in 2023 salary cap room. But after that, let's see here. Looking at the cap next year and beyond, to make it as simple as we can here, they've got a lot of expenses coming up starting next offseason. And you pay all that money to Bosa now, and all of a sudden, some of the tough choices you got to make after this season, in the next season,
right,
they become even more pressing.
Yeah, and I don't know when the quarterback bill is due, but at some point they're going to have to pick one of their guys, and they're going to have to pay them, which is why they have the flexibility that they have right now to pay everyone, all the stars, the Debos, the Ayuk, the Christian McCaffrey, the Trent Williams, all these guys are able to pay because they're essentially punting on paying the quarterback position for the time being. But once Brock Purdy or Trey Lance is whoever it is that they decide long term, once they have to sign those guys, they're not going to have any money left. And as a matter of fact, they're probably going to have to let go of some of those pieces.
They already have liabilities against the cap next year, the 49ers do, over $270 million.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like too much.
Yeah. And the cap, according to The Athletic, the cap is not going to hit 270 in time for 2024. It goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
They'll get there eventually, but probably not in time for the 49ers to fit under it. So the allocation of every dollar counts, as David Lombardi writes. And so that's why they want Nick Bosa, and they'll get it done, but they're trying to figure out how they can get it done without just, what do you want? Blank check.
Right.
Because that's going to hurt them come next off season.
Right. And I would imagine that if they're going to pay him less than what Aaron Donald's making annually, they'll probably have to make it up on the guaranteed side. And that's where in this Athletic article, they have the fully guaranteed scale as well. And that's where TJ Watt had made $80 million guaranteed.
Wow, fully guaranteed.
Yeah. And I would assume that that's probably where they're going to make up that Bosa money is by paying him less than Donald in the average per year, but eclipsing that 80 million guaranteed mark will probably that's what I imagine they're probably negotiating at this point, because paying him more than $31 million, I don't think that that's necessarily going to be the best move for them long term. And I would just give the man his money, because he absolutely deserves it. And you need him on the field in order to be the defense and the team that you are expecting to be next year.
Especially when your secondary is maybe not the greatest secondary. Although I saw Charvarius Ward made, it was at NFL.com, top 10 defensive backs.
Saw that.
I think he just barely made it, but he's in there.
Yeah. I mean,
Miami has 2 guys in
there. The D line is crucial for that, though. I mean, if the 49ers secondary is going to be an issue, which it seems like their corners are probably their weakest spot on their defense, they're going to rely heavily on the defensive line to get pressure to the quarterbacks to make their clock a lot quicker and not let them sit in the pocket and let those corners get beat on late developing routes. I mean, if you
Do
can
you think
get
D
pressure,
Ford will have a good year for the 49ers? Ha ha ha. Not there.
No.
Year after year after year. He's hurt.
He's
going to
play. Yeah, he's going to do it. He's
Yeah.
going to, no, it's Javon Kinlaw's up next.
There you go. Yeah.
Javon Kinlaw. This is going to be the Javon Kinlaw year finally. I think their defensive line, if Bosa does play, which I don't
He'll
even
figure it
he's
out.
he's gonna play.
Clearly they want to, so they're going to.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. It doesn't seem like the Niners are adamant against not paying him. And I think Bosa doesn't seem to have any ill will towards the 49ers side either. This is just quite literally negotiating, and he's not gonna he's not gonna step on the field until his contract is set in stone.
Yeah. Sounds like from the 49ers standpoint, it's almost a matter of, okay, look, we know what you're worth. Here's where we are. What can you give us so that, next year you want us to be a good team, right?
Right.
Nick? Yeah.
Got to play ball. I mean, he's got to play ball as well. He deserves every single dollar he's going to earn. But, the 49ers, if they want to keep the team structure, they're going to have to, some players are going to have to make some sacrifices in order to keep the core group of players still together, or else, again, they're going to have to ship some guys off because, they're just going to run out of money at some point.
You still think they're looking up at the Eagles, though?
Yes. Huh? Yes, I do. I can't believe you don't believe so. You're not concerned about the Eagles.
Javon Hargrave isn't on the Eagles anymore. He's on the 49ers.
Do you think that Jalen Hurts did get a little overrated last year?
No, I mean, I don't know if he's going to have the numbers, but I mean, I think that's what he is. Okay. I don't think that's a mirage or anything.
Yeah. So where do you feel like the Niners are better than the Eagles? Because that's where I just think at every single position group that you could list for the Niners, I just think the Eagles are equal, if not better.
I think the Eagles, as happens when you win a Super Bowl, they lose not only Hargrave, they got, who's going to carry the football now?
Sure.
That's a loss for them too.
Yeah.
So I think it's harder for them to be better than they were. And I think the 49ers, I think they could be a little better than they were last year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's out of the question.
Miles Sanders is the one that left, right?
Yes, Miles Sanders left. Yeah.
Yeah. He's really good.
Yeah.
Javon Hargrave, he's really good.
He is really, really good. They bring in DeAndre Swift. I'm not a big DeAndre Swift guy really at all, but I just think that the Eagles were able to replace Hargrave. They have Jalen Carter. They have Jordan Davis, the two Georgia D tackles from their national championship teams.
But they're not going to be as good as him in their rookie years. Have you been talking to Brian, our boss, or something?
I have been talking
Georgia
to Brian
guy?
way too much, honestly. That's probably what it is. But I think that those two D tackles are incredible. I mean, and plus they still have Fletcher Cox. They have an incredible defense.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to win 7 games.
No, I think that they are the team to beat.
Yeah,
that's more what it is.
I think there quite often is a Super Bowl letdown.
Sure,
they didn't
absolutely.
win it, but
Super
they
Bowl
got
hangover.
There.
Absolutely,
yeah.
It's a really real thing. And again, we've stated how hard it is to to win the Super Bowl back-to-back years. It's even tough to make it back to the Super Bowl back-to-back years and,
The
remain
49ers never
healthy.
have that because they've never actually, it's been a long time since they've actually won a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So they don't worry about that.
I mean, and the Niners also are still trying to get, they're still hungry. The Eagles, after getting there last year, might not be as hungry as what they were last year to make a point. The 49ers absolutely still have, if anything, I mean, they have all the motivation, especially going into those Eagles games. They're going to have the upper hand in terms of, motivation and just in wanting to win those games. The Niners, it feels like every single player on the Niners has those Eagles game, or that one Eagles game that's scheduled right now circled. But, I think that they're anticipating meeting them in the NFC Championship.
As we've done, as we'll continue to do, it's easy to look at certain positions with the Niners, right tackle, defensive backs. Maybe they're not as deep. Maybe there are issues there, but I still think stem to stern, if I being from Vallejo may use a nautical term, I think they have the most solid roster of anybody.
I think they're close. I just think I would put them right behind the Eagles. I just think, again, I think that the Niners are stacked everywhere. There is not a position group, again, where you're really hyper concerned about that thing could just completely sink their team. Even their corner. I mean, if Jimmy Ward gets hurt, maybe you can be concerned about their corner group, but there's nothing really that's super concerning about the Niners. The right side of the line is definitely alarming, but I don't think that that's going to end up killing them. They're a very, very stacked team, and they're going to be put in a situation to overcome the Eagles. It's just going to be a matter of when the ball's rolled out there.
Debo's right. They'd have won that game easy if it hadn't been for the injury.
Totally. Yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy played defense and allowed the 30.
It's all interrelated.
To an extent. It's
Brock's
really
leading the drive, long drive,
is.
chewing up clock. The Eagles aren't. Offense isn't on the field.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. But and absolutely, that would have been a much more entertaining game. But I still do think that the right team won that game. I think the Eagles were the best team in the NFC pretty much for the entirety of last year. And
it's almost,
if they can keep it up, I
don't know if ironic is the right term, but the Eagles pass rush was the big difference last
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it would have been even if Purdy hadn't gotten hurt, I still think it would have been.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they were in Josh Johnson's face as well. Like it didn't matter who the quarterback was. The pressure was there the entire time. And that was the Eagles calling card. That's what made them really, really tough. They gave Patrick Mahomes a really tough time too. I just think, I think Hargrave was fantastic, had 10 sacks last year from the defensive tackle position, but
he's not on the team.
He's not on the team, but they got two guys who are ready to fill that production like he was
Brian.
never there, man. I'm just letting you know.
Thanks, Brian Gebhardt.
Hey, man, I'm just letting you know.
Update.
Hey.
Coming up
you heard
next,
it here first.
Yeah, quick break here. Then we've got a peek at the juiciest starting quarterback battles of NFL training camp 2023. Next, Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL season is right around the corner, and Sactown Sports is your new home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Intercepted and coming back the other way. Talanoa Hufanga. Touchdown! San Francisco!
The big bad wolf!
Catch every 49ers game this season on Sactown Sports.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Enjoy the prime grilling season today with a new lifetime warranty Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. My personal Napoleon P500 series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro. Napoleon Prestige grills, versatile grilling for every occasion. Form, function, and luxury can come in the same package. Just go to your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply for the best selection today, or visit Napoleon.com for a dealer near you.
Feeling boxed in by cable? Now's the time to break free from that overpriced TV bill and switch to Philo. With Philo, you'll get shows, movies, and more than 70 live channels, all for just $25 a month. There's no complicated setup, no contracts, and no commitments. Just all of your favorite shows in one spot. Best of all, you'll save hundreds of dollars a month and gain peace of mind. So think outside the box and stay inside your budget with Philo. Visit philo.tv/cutthecord to start your 7-day free trial today. That's philo.tv/cutthecord.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
here's what it comes down to, Chris Watkins. One of the training camp battles that a lot of people are keeping an eye on is what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles in the running back position. Miles Sanders, gone. 4 years, $24.5 million with the Carolina Panthers. So who's going to be the running back? You got DeAndre Swift. You got Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell's pretty good. Rashad Penny. Seahawks fans familiar with him. Boston Scott. Trey Sermon in the mix.
Whoa! Blast from the past, Trey Sermon?
Yes.
Mr. My first carry for a fumble, Trey Sermon.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's what you're looking at. And so there's a drop off there.
I mean, I think DeAndre Swift is an interesting reply. I wasn't a big Miles Sanders guy. Top tier name for a running back. Just gives me big Friday Night Lights vibes with Miles Sanders. But wasn't ever really that spectacular. I think DeAndre Swift is he's got more capabilities, I think, to fit better into this offense. He's a little bit more of a receiving back. Was pretty decent for the Lions. I think it was a little concerning how much they ran Jamal Williams in the red zone last year. He had like 17 or 18 touchdowns just all in the red zone. So, that's a little bit of a concern because I don't think they really have a power back. I guess you can consider Rashad Penny possibly that guy, but he's got to stay healthy. I think that running back situation is definitely going to be the key.
Options.
Yeah, I like the options, but it's also going to be that's going to determine how ridiculous this Eagles offense can be. Because if Swift is a really good fit for them, that's where their team could just be out of control and they can have tons of different weapons, much like the 49ers.
That's true.
But if Swift, is just okay and he's not really
he does have an injury history, and so does Penny.
Exactly. And if they fall to those injuries, that could really be a hole because you still do have to run the football in today's NFL. You can't just completely abandon the run and go full pass, especially with Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts is a guy who, isn't really the throw it 40 times a game kind of quarterback at this point. He still does rely a good bit on balance, whether it be himself running the ball or handing it off.
And before we get to the quarterbacks, here's a battle. I think you might have talked about this yesterday. The Chiefs, they lost Juju Smith-Schuster. They lose McCole Hardman. So battling for the wide receiver openings there. Yeah. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Richie James, another throwback, 49er fans, Justin Watson, and Justin Ross.
Yeah, it's a really horrible receiver group, honestly. Kadarius Toney, I saw yesterday, went through surgery, so I don't know if he's going to be ready for the start of the season. He's also always injured, like literally always injured, which is why he's on the Chiefs in the first place. Marquez Valdez-Scantling as your number one receiver, like that's absolutely horrible. How can you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and give him those level of weapons?
Is that why you say Travis Kelce is going to be a really high?
He's going to be ridiculous. He will be, like I said, my first round in my fantasy drafts this year will either be wide receiver or Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce is going to be fed like there is no tomorrow. And if he can stay healthy, which he has the past couple of years, then he's going to get all of the receptions, all of the touchdowns. There's no way Travis Kelce does not have another ridiculous season if he can stay healthy.
Don't you feel like, it's Patrick Mahomes. No matter who's out there, he's going to make it work.
Oh, for sure, to an extent. But, if you're talking about winning Super Bowls, you're going to have to give this guy some target. Like he can, for the most part, do
Richie
it
James is
himself,
solid.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. He might be a solid fourth receiver, but he has nobody that he can realistically rely on. And, the greatest thing you can give Patrick Mahomes is a deadly weapon. And Travis Kelce is definitely that, but I think they're going to need more than that in order to try and reach the heights that they reached last year.
All right. I mentioned quarterback battles in camp.
Let's do it.
Which one are you paying most attention to? We talked about one of them earlier.
Yes.
Gardner Minshew versus Anthony Richardson with the Colts. Let's see. Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett with the Washington. We'll figure out what I'll
tell you right now,
later.
I will not be paying attention to that.
You won't be?
I will not be paying attention to the Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett quarterback battle. Not really much interest in that.
Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask.
only to see if Baker Mayfield's career is completely over or not. If he can't beat out Kyle Trask, and I've heard people really did like Kyle Trask as a quarterback option.
Yeah, I know.
He was at Florida, and
he's been backing up Brady there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People have been pretty high on him. So, I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy at all. That's really interesting.
What happened to Baker Mayfield?
I think he just never really was that good. Like
he never got better.
He never got better for sure. And he's also, he's a really small guy. And I think he kind of fell victim to that, traditional small quarterback, can't look over the line, can't really make the really tough
little
sideline throws. Oh yeah. Just
which isn't good.
Always taking risks that aren't necessary. Definitely. And as a leader too, I don't really think he's I don't know. He just gives a little bit fratty vibes to me. I've never really been a big Baker Mayfield guy. He seems like he doesn't really seem like a leader really at all to me.
Do you remember when the Browns were on Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Hugh Jackson was the coach.
Yeah, that was a great season.
And if I'm not mistaken, they had the draft picks were coming into the airport and everyone was going nuts over Baker Mayfield, Mayfield. Yeah, Kenny Mayne was there. Not Kenny Mayne. Kenny Chesney.
What happened to Kenny Mayne?
I'm sorry. Wasn't it Kenny Chesney, the country guy?
Yeah.
And they had him speak to the team. Yes. And it was embarrassing, but he was so excited about, hey, they say this guy's like Brett Favre. Anyway, at the airport, Baker Mayfield. There's this other guy there, this rookie, no one's paying any attention to. It's like, hey, what's your name? Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Ended up being the real star of you just got that Continental son. Yeah, it's that Baker Mayfield has just never really worked out. That whole Odell thing last year was so weird. Just like the Odell's dad posting literal film of Baker Mayfield just overthrowing Odell repeatedly and saying, my son's not the problem. And, then Odell gets traded like 2 weeks later. And then that's kind of when the narrative really flipped, I think. I think that was kind of the moment where people were like, he has Jarvis Landry, he has Odell Beckham, and he still isn't making it work. And, the Browns, when they were at their best, were just feeding Nick Chubb and feeding Kareem Hunt. And it really didn't have anything to do with Baker Mayfield.
He just wasn't that guy. Improve, I don't think.
Especially not for being the number one quarterback.
In fact, I think he
number one
regressed as he got more comfortable and took more chances.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's also somebody, part of his, it's part of his personality, but he's just really cocky. Like, he believes in himself a lot and he carries himself in that way. And I think that's just kind of part of the equation of having Baker Mayfield is he's going to take risks because he really believes that he's talented enough to make those throws.
Baker Mayfield is exactly why, if I were building an NFL team, which is unlikely, but I would try to approach the quarterback position the way the Seahawks and 49ers have, rather than teams like, even though it worked like the Chargers. Like, I know if you have a number one pick and that guy is there, you got to pick him. But I would not want to pick a quarterback in the first round because so often it's because you're just assuming the expectations are you have to be the guy. You have to be like Peyton Manning. Is there anybody like Peyton Manning in the draft? Yeah, this guy. Well, no.
Yeah.
They're very rare.
Right.
It just makes more sense mathematically to me to, draft a guy who can be really good and it's not going to cost us as much money and doesn't carry as much risk.
Well, I think
lower in the draft.
The problem is with that is that you have to make sure you get the right one. It's really tough to not especially at a position like quarterback where everybody is looking at it. It's tough to find guys who end up slipping. Inevitably they always do. Jalen Hurts was a second round pick and, obviously Brock Purdy was a 7th round pick. And, it's not always the first quarterback that's the best. Look at Patrick Mahomes, who was picked, I believe, behind Mitch Trubisky. It's not always that.
Trubisky was number 1.
Yeah. It's not a perfect
and how did
science.
That work out? So that there's just, it's so dangerous.
Yeah. It is, but it's also
risky.
It's such an important position that it's worth the risk because if it pays off, you're completely set. But to your point, think of the last couple number one, even like Kyler Murray, where that's like, is Kyler Murray a bad pick? I don't think so, but also it hasn't resulted necessarily in what you would have wished for taking a quarterback number 1, especially when there's tons of other positions that you probably skip on where you can have somebody equally as valuable and you miss out on it because you're going for quarterback.
To me, there's too much volatility. you just don't know enough about the guys when they're available out of college. And I mean, look at the draft a few years ago. And obviously Trevor Lawrence looks like he's been pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do things work out for the Jets? The 49ers, for that matter.
Yeah, not well. Yeah, Zach Wilson is not it. And Trey Lance, they're still trying to figure it out. But all these years later, and even Mac Jones, who's somebody who looked good his first year, and now –
and everybody knew, right? All that was the consensus. Yeah. These are going to be great quarterbacks.
Yeah, and one of them, I would say, is above where they are probably – Trevor Lawrence, though. Like, Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be the surefire Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning level guy, and he's in the upper tier of quarterbacks, but he's by no means head and shoulders above guys like Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. He's in the conversation.
He's an asset.
He's definitely an asset on for sure.
Track.
I mean, and he's better than taking Josh Rosen or something.
Yeah, another great point.
Just it's a risk, but it's a risk with all these guys, and it's a risk you have to take because if it pans out, it's the most important position to get right in sports, you could argue.
Anthony Richardson's
number
4 overall pick, battling Gardner Minshew.
Absolutely.
And I hope it works out. But I remember being on with you the day of the draft saying, man, the Colts with the new coach from the area, I hope they don't go Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm. And they took a huge risk. I mean, they're taking a massive, massive risk. And if it doesn't work out, it's going to suck. And it's probably like the 49ers. I mean, you're going to try and try for probably a couple years until you're 100% certain it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, you're set for the next 15 years. And there's nothing better than having a great quarterback on your team locked up for the future because it's a really comforting feeling.
I don't know. I think the wise way is to go another way.
It's a calculated risk.
Yeah, when it's there in front of you and the guy's there, obviously hard to pass up. Coming up, how does the A's move, the proposed move, isn't a done deal yet, how does it compare to other heart-wrenching franchise relocations of recent years? That's next year. Whitey and Watkins, not afraid to deal with painful reality of the situation next on Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. Golf to Go. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. Why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain-free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt.
You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness.
Lise Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Attention car shoppers, are you ready for the deal of a lifetime? Introducing the all-new 2023 Kia Forte LXS at Elk Grove Kia. You won't believe your ears when you hear this offer. We're offering the stylish and reliable 2023 Kia Forte LXS for the unbelievable price of just $99 per month. That's right, under $100. Don't let anyone tell you it's impossible, because at Elk Grove Kia, we're making the impossible possible. The 2023 Kia Forte LXS combines affordability, performance, and style like no other sedan on the market. Worried about credit? Not at Elk Grove Kia. The management team has over 100 years of combined experience. We know how to say yes a lot more than the other guys do. Bankruptcies, repos, collections, or no money down? Elk Grove Kia says yes.
2023 Kia Forte, $99 per month plus tax, 36 month lease, $49.95 due at signing, residual of $12,874.84, Visa, 10K per year, 20 cents per mile, over reserve security deposit required, subject to Kia finance, tier 1 approval, one of this payment, GK 889464595, non expires 7/31/2023.
Elk Grove Kia.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. I'm Chris Verlotta with your Sactown Sports headlines. Niners got good news with Brock Purdy being available for the start of training camp, but they are without Nick Bosa, who was Defensive Player of the Year last year. Bosa is holding out until a long-term contract extension is reached with the 49ers. The U.S. women are back in action tonight. They will be taking on Netherlands. Both the U.S. and Netherlands are on top of Group E, with the U.S. leading by goal differential. The game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. It is 1:34. Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Thank goodness. Chris Watkins has been chipping here at the Doug Christie Greens, and normally, he's a good golfer, very adept chipper, but man,
today is not it.
Look out! 4 left!
I feel bad for whoever is under us, whoever that is. Feel bad for him.
He won't worry about it
It's
today,
fine.
huh?
He's probably not here.
Look out!
Yeah, it's a bad day. It's a rough day. It's been a while since I've been out on the links. It's been way too hot.
You know what Doug used to do? He used to actually turn this way towards my room, and he'd chip it and try to get it in that way.
Why?
Because he was already doing so well. Going the other way.
Wait,
Or
you
just
mean
to upset
try
you.
to chip it backwards?
Yeah, like he would hit it.
So he would hit the wall to make it bounce up and then come over.
Okay. All right. I see. Okay.
I don't know if that's productive or not, but why not? Yeah.
It was like it was July of 2020.
So he's just yeah.
We were all figuring it out.
Well, at first, Mickelson can hit it backwards.
You
can,
mean like hit it
flop
with the back end of the club, or
no? I believe he hits it, but he's just so adept at his short game that he actually get the ball to go chip it back over his head. What? Yeah, I mean he's master
for sure. Yeah,
left-handed. I'll have to see if I can find video of that.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. Maybe that's a new skill that I can try to get.
Yeah, well, and he said, Doug,
look out for the ceilings.
Yeah, that's low ceiling. The Giants and A's are back at it this evening. Yeah, sell.
Yeah, get another demonstration out there.
Mentioned earlier, I'm not a fan of the split caps, but there's a guy on Twitter named Steve Babb, and he was wearing one, and I made fun of it. But he also had a shirt on that was a really cool shirt. It was a T-shirt, and it said 1989, and the 1 and the 9 were in Giants colors.
Okay,
so like orange trimmed and black.
Sure,
and then the 89 is in A's green and gold.
Great.
1989
Yeah, that
World Series.
works.
I thought that's
Yes,
an awesome
that
show.
works. See, it's okay. It, like,
there
there's-
you're not really saying I love one team or another. It's just like, hey, remember when this happened?
Exactly. It's like, you can wear like Kings, Warriors, Battle of the whatever. I don't know what they were calling it, but
we're all part of the same miracle.
Exactly, man. Like it's all that's fine. You can recognize an event happening, but exactly, you cannot split and say like what I don't know. Couldn't have said like Giants 3P or whatever 2012 10 and 14 and then A's 80. Like that's kind of where it's like, okay, like you can't celebrate both teams. That's where it becomes the problem. But yeah, I'm okay with the 1989 split shirt.
Yeah,
that sounds fine.
I thought that was awesome. So hopefully we'll have more vocal protests tonight, but I think last night was probably the biggest night of it.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, there's probably going to be some people there today who either were or weren't there yesterday that'll try and get it going as well. But yeah, I mean, there's, I think the point was the message was received and the message was definitely sent. I just, hopefully it does something. I mean, it would really be unfortunate if all of this just really goes on and it's just, hey, remember that one time when they were really, really fighting and they made that point that one time? Like,
at least the fans were so frustrated and at least they're not just sitting there going, well, what can we do? They're trying something.
Yeah.
Will it do any good? We'll do some good.
Will
it matter? I don't know, but at least they're not just sitting there doing nothing, being miserable.
Mm-hmm.
How does this in your mind compare to other gut-wrenching franchise moves that you're aware of? Because to me, in one way at least, it's one of, if not the very worst.
What's that?
Just the way the A's, it appears that they've been planning this for years and slowly, deliberately, over the last several years, have been tearing it down.
Yeah, I think the on the field thing is what makes this so uniquely horrible, because they did have a good product there for a minute. I mean, they had some real talented guys, and it all started with them not bringing back Marcus Semien. And then after that, all the other guys kind of looked around, and I think somebody said it earlier this year that was kind of the moment where they were like, I mean, if this guy who's quite literally from this area,
I think Matt Chapman might have said that.
Yeah, he's from this area. They brought him up. They nurtured him essentially into being the incredible player he was. Like Ron Washington took real time to make Marcus Semien a thing. And if they're not going to bring that guy back, what hope does Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, all of these guys, even guys like Sean Murphy, what hope do they have of being with the team long term if they're not going to re-up the one guy that makes the most sense to keep as at least a figure to promote your team? That's kind of where things got really nasty, because never before have, at least in my lifetime, have I seen a team really strip their parts to make their product as unwatchable and undesirable as possible, so that nobody shows up, so that they can then use that against them.
Right.
They can use the fact that, no one comes to the A's game anyway.
What can we do?
It's because you guys aren't giving them anything to watch. And
which was the plan all along.
It's even worse that some people fell for, that was a prevailing narrative for a while, that, nobody shows up to the A's game. So are they really going to be missing?
Yeah. I don't remember any other commissioner of another sport when a team left, the commissioner then mocking, mocking.
It's cute.
The fans of the city that they're losing their team.
Yeah. Yeah. Rob Manfred has done himself no favors. He will not have a Manfred way in Oakland anytime soon, like we have here David Stern way in Sacramento. He's done himself no favors. And I mean, how he has treated this situation is just disgusting. And you know what he gets for it? A 4-year extension. He just signed an extension through 2028. But his statements about the A's fans and their
baseball's in
protest
good hands.
It was disgusting. I mean, it was just very a slappable thing. Something you really want to just hit him across the face with a glove.
I don't think there's any way you could remember this, but I'm sure you heard of the Colts leaving.
Yeah,
Baltimore.
literally in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
There's a 30 for 30 on it, I believe.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I think so.
I remember the next day he's like, what? Yeah, the Colts, they just left. What do you mean? Yeah, they had all the vans backed up and they just left Baltimore.
That's by far the worst relocation that you could do. And from what I understand, nobody really knew.
No,
it was truly just the owner in the middle of the night loaded up some U-Hauls or some trucks or whatever and moved them all the way to
the Browns. Leaving Cleveland was bad too, because I think the Browns was like they supported the team.
That's crazy.
But Modell had a chance to make more money in Baltimore, which had lost the Colts. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Sonics was
not great. I mean, even the Kings situation, if that would have gone sour,
Sonics thing was a setup. Where,
I mean, that's
when the team was purchased, like, oh, we're staying, and they had no intent.
This feels the most like that, not with like the selling of the team, but the idea of they're moving and we're going to pretend to stay, but we're moving the entire time.
Rooted in Oakland.
Yeah.
And the worst part is going to be when John Fisher just immediately sells too, because he's gonna like they're gonna get their wish. I don't think, especially if he moves to Vegas, there's no way he can continue to operate this team the way he does.
And then sold,
that's what
that would be rough.
I feel like it's going to happen, and that's going to really be the nail in the heart, because that's all that A's fans want, is just for him to sell the team and for them to have a chance to stay in Oakland. But I think he's going to move the team and then look to sell, just because at that point, he can just collect the money and not worry about it.
The bad thing is this isn't a very American problem, because I've talked about stuff like this to my friends overseas, and they're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean the team moves? Why would they move to the city? It belongs in the city it was made in, correct?
Right.
Like they can't even comprehend what that means.
Right, because like soccer teams are like connected to the community, right? Like it's like in 1900s they built this stadium and it was like the thing for those towns to do, and you can't just rip that from a place and move it somewhere else.
My team was started to get kids to stop drinking.
What?
Was that kind of a flex from Verlot? My friends
from overseas.
Yeah.
You guys need to branch out.
Yeah.
My European friends who bring me French cigarettes. Yeah.
Croatian.
It was definitely a slight flex.
All right, Rami's going to join us for story time. Maybe FP Jr. is going to join us too. Coming up next year, it's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. The Kings are running it back.
Hammers it off the dribble against Gobert, and he was fouled. Oh my, what a take that time by Domantas Sabonis. Eludes Gobert. That's draw. Two-hand flush off the dribble, thrown down by Trey Lyles.
And welcoming some new faces.
Yes, I love this. Tobias Jones with 2 more.
Now they go to Duarte in the corner for 3, and he rains it down.
Keep it locked on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers. Imagine if every time you bought something, you could get a second one for 30% off. Buy one car, get the second one for 30% off.
Buy one TV, get the second one at 30% off. Buy a new house and get the second one at 30% off.
At Bell Brothers, that's exactly what we're offering this spring on windows and doors. When you buy one brand new energy-efficient window for your home, you'll get the second one at 30% off.
A minimum purchase is required, but the discount applies to every second window you buy. For example, if you buy 5 windows, you'll get 5 windows at 30% off.
The same is true for doors. Buy one, get one for 30% off. And for doors, the minimum is just 2.
So call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com. That's 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street. Right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention home services contractors who want to grow their business with more leads while leveraging their marketing costs to receive over 10 times the value in advertising. Subcontractors United is offering 40 home services contractors from architects to landscapers to participate in our advertising co-op. For less than $2,100 per month, you'll share in over $83,000 a month in advertising. That's $1 million a year in advertising for under $2,100 a month. And because there's only 3 subcontractors per category, not 3,000, your lead potential is unlimited. Generate more leads than you ever thought possible Be one of only 3 subcontractors in a category and receive $1 million a year in advertising by leveraging the power of a united group. That's subcontractorsunited.com or Google Subcontractors United for more information. But hurry, categories are filling up.
Summertime and Rivercats baseball are the perfect pairing. The only thing missing is you. With weekly promotions, premium giveaway games, and unique theme nights, there's fun for everyone at Sutter Health Park. Stick around postgame every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. Visit rivercats.com to purchase tickets.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins.
On Sactown Sports.
Getting ready to hand it off to Rami and FP Jr. with us today.
Hey.
What's going on, gentlemen? Yeah.
How are we?
Good. Yeah.
Good.
How about those Giants fans last night?
That was pretty cool, man. That was
I agree.
That was one of those sports moments that gave me a chill. I don't know about you guys, but to hear, I don't know how many they fit over there in Oracle Park, but to hear, 25,000 strong, all chanting 40,000 strong, chanting "Sell the team." Yeah. That was pretty amazing, man. That's I'm more and more encouraged that the baseball world, not just Northern California and the Bay Area, but the baseball world are taking notice of what's going on here and what's happening to the Oakland A's fan base.
The entire time I was watching that game last night, I thought this is going to be in a documentary one day.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
it's just incredible what's been happening to the A's, and for a Hail Mary reason, they're able to stay in Oakland. That's going to be just one of the premier highlights. So I think everyone's unifying in Northern California to really, support the A's fans in this really tough time. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I was thinking it's probably one of the most significant moments in A's Giants history. And there haven't been a lot of watershed moments. I think Barry hit, was it 714 he hit, I think, against the A's?
Yeah, I didn't count those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there was the World Series, of course.
of course. Yeah. But other than that, yeah. That was pretty amazing.
It was. Yeah. That was pretty cool. Like I said, chills. Hairs on my arm stood up.
Do you think the A's? Do you think Oakland would ever get an expansion team if the A's go to Vegas?
That's sort of the thread that I would hang on to if I'm an A's fan, because I think the Vegas move is all but a foregone conclusion. I think that the thing you try and push for now is what they're trying to do with the Sonics in Seattle, which is you take the franchise. You leave the logo, you leave the colors, you leave the history,
but you can't,
and one of the expansion teams is the Oakland A's.
That won't work now, I don't think, because Fisher, it's like, I own that. That's mine.
Yeah,
well, the Sonics got sold.
If Rob Manfred was worth his salt as a commissioner, he would say to John Fisher, "Look, I'm going to let you do this. I'm going to let you pull this heist and take the A's to Vegas, but you're leaving everything else behind." He's helped him enough. You know what I mean? He's helped John Fisher enough that he could at least throw Oakland that bone. You know what I mean?
It's been widely reported that Warriors owner Joe Lacob wants to buy a sports franchise in Oakland, a baseball franchise. He wants the A's specifically, but why not an expansion team? So we'll see what happens.
Didn't he supposedly make a run at the Angels or an offer or something?
I believe so too. Yeah.
All right.
That'd be cool. That's a guy who wants to do right by his fan base.
Yeah.
And A's fans deserve that. So that would be cool.
Story time now with Christopher Lott. Hello.
We interrupt this program for an important announcement.
It's that time of the day where Christopher Lott gives you the stories that you need to hear. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Story time.
So I'll add just a quick thing. Remember how it's like about probably last week how water was super hot in Florida?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I saw this today, dude.
Reached 101 degrees in Florida waters.
101.
Like in the ocean, right?
In the ocean.
That's too much.
That's a hot tub.
That's a hot tub.
Yeah, that's too much.
Just want to give you that. I also want to say Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
So you got cocaine sharks swimming around in
in boiling water. Yeah. That's great. No, everything's fine, though. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it, folks. Fake. Yeah, go take selfies with a thermometer in Death Valley.
Everything is fine.
Everything's cool.
How about we start with, this comes from the Wall Street Journal. As a parent, what is the most important thing when sending your daughter to college?
Safety.
And Anything
Already
else?
throwing out stuff right now?
Yeah.
That she's focused on her education.
Education.
Where she's living.
Where she's living. Yeah. Great.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's right. Making sure they get into the sorority of their choice. You guys
That's
are,
also very
Sure.
important.
So
It's so important, man.
It's so important. Some parents are even paying up to $4,000
Yes. It's
for a
insane.
sorority consultant.
Oh, a consultant.
Yes.
A consultant.
This
Stacey,
is more concerning than the 100-degree water in Florida.
Yeah,
quite
it is.
frankly, the world is doomed. We are all doomed.
Oh,
Enjoy it. Enjoy whatever time we have left. We're all doomed.
That's great.
Stacia Damron, the founder of sorority consulting company Hiking and Heels,
Company?
yes, charges $4,000 for an on-call service during peak periods. But if you would like, you can pay $1,495 for a premium package or $2,975 for an elite membership. These consultants coach students on what to wear, how to behave, and how to manage their social media presence. But if you think $4,000 is expensive, it's actually quite cheap when you find out Cardinal Education, an educational consulting firm, charges up to $350,000 for their most intensive
I hate everything.
consulting package to help your child get to the school of their choice.
I'm just going to say it. I got nothing to lose. You know what we just learned in Christopher Laud's story time here today? That global warming and the wealth gap are both very, very real. Those are both very real things. And if you tell me otherwise, you're not a smart person. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to put that out there.
Does that consulting for the sororities, does that come with a guarantee? Like if my
guarantee?
Well, yeah. If my daughter's not placed, do I get my money back?
No, of
That
course
you'll get
not.
into Delta Sigma.
They do their best to hopefully
Form
get
a
your daughter
Kappa.
into that sorority.
Sela? Zeta? I don't know.
Yeah.
Jones.
all those.
That's the dumbest thing I've maybe ever heard in my life.
Don't you also have to pay to get into the sorority
Yes,
as
you
well?
have to buy your friends. Yes, you have to buy those friends.
And the college
And
ain't
you-
cheap
I
to
don't
begin with.
And you also have to
and
get
you have
into
to pay
college.
for college as well, right? And books and board and
Yeah.
general
My
living.
guess is if you're paying for a sorority consultant, you're not worried about the price of college.
That's probably true.
Good
That's
point.
Yeah,
true.
that is probably true.
Good looking
Yeah.
point.
All right, let's go to Salt Lake City. This is courtesy of KSL.com.
Hey, shout out.
This might surprise you, but this next story, alcohol was involved.
Whoa. In Salt Lake City?
Yeah, it does surprise
Whoa.
me.
On Sunday
Definitely
night,
newsworthy.
Mikhail Martinez broke into a Ferrari dealership by using a rock to break the building's exterior glass. He then opened a car door, saw the keys on the center console,
Hell yeah.
decided to go on a drive. He started the car, hit the interior glass inside the building, 4 other vehicles, and exterior doors on his way out. The car wasn't identified, but police say it was worth an estimated $600,000. Not only that, he caused $100,000 worth of damage to other vehicles in the shop.
Wow.
Is it bad that I think it would be more? Like I thought it would be more. I was like $6 million.
Yeah, that sounded like a lot more than $100,000
Probably
worth
just,
of
probably
damage.
just dinged him. You probably just dinged him.
Yeah, little door dings. That's go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Martinez was spotted near I-295 walking away from the vehicle by Utah Highway Patrol. When he was taken into custody, he allegedly told police, this was a spur of the moment act after drinking all day.
He told them he was drinking all day.
Yeah, he told them he was drinking all day.
It happens.
I had a few. I was walking by the Ferrari dealership. Who hasn't thought of doing that?
You know what? This wasn't the most planned out idea that I've had, just to let you guys know.
It's their fault for keeping the keys on the center console, really. Like,
I'm surprised.
What is he supposed to do?
Here's the bad thing. I'll let you know how I find these stories, and like if I can't find like more news on it, I Google it to see if I can find the news someplace
To
else.
corroborate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I Googled Salt Lake City Ferrari dealership stolen car. There was like 5 different stories of this exact same thing happening.
Wow. Yeah. Would
It's
not
a
have expected
problem in
that.
Salt Lake, apparently.
Well, Rami, what do you guys have coming up today?
FP Santangelo Jr. in the co-host chair. We'll talk lots of football. We got lots of 49ers on the docket today. And an announcement to start things off at the start of the show, and then lots and lots of fun following the announcement. So that's coming up next, right
This
here.
guy, Chris Watkins,
Yes,
great
sir.
Chris Watkins,
What
is
did I
telling
do?
me I should be terrified of the Eagles this year.
Yes,
From the 49ers standpoint.
Yes.
The Super Bowl hangover has proven to be real.
Exactly what Whitey said.
Proven to be a thing, man.
I'm just saying on paper, they look
they're
really
they
tough.
look really good on paper, but I'm just saying the Super Bowl hangover has proven to be a thing in recent history.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't think you can discount that.
Hey, they're a good team. They're a good team.
Exactly
and
what
when
I'm
you go
saying.
into Philadelphia, right? They're going into Philadelphia.
Yes,
That's just
yeah.
another beast altogether. So you got to add on top of the
I
roster
like this guy.
what they're doing, like what the fans are going to do. It's not a very friendly territory.
It's not Philadelphia.
Guys
Not
do not
friendly.
know that.
I've heard things. Yeah, I've heard some things.
All right. Special announcement coming up.
Yes, sir.
Rami and FP Jr. Don't go away. Thanks for being with us today on Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
I think if you simulated the upcoming 49ers season with 17 games with Brock Purdy, with Trey Lance, and with Sam Darnold, I don't know that the end win-loss result is going to be any different.
So this year's 49ers starting quarterback is going to throw for 3,400 yards with 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
And I think all three are capable of doing that.
I agree with you.
The Carmichael Dave Show.